Welcome back to the channel. This is Trady Storm and you're watching second part of What If Naruto Awakens Celestial Chakra. If you enjoy this video, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. Now wasting no more time, let's start the story.
TT Tenyu? Exclaimed Meigetsu. How are you, Meigetsu? San? Naruto inquired in a panic. If what your Hokage said is true, that blade is one of the most powerful weapons in the Nine Realms and a gift from the very gods themselves. What? Meigetsu said, pausing to collect her thoughts. Let me explain. In this universe, there are several gods and chief among them are Kami and Shinigami. You already know about Kami, the goddess of life, and Shinigami, the death god, but what you don't know is that there is one other god that is on par with them in terms of influence and sheer power. The god of destruction. I don't know of any god of destruction. That's not surprising. In fact, no one knows if the deity has an official name. That doesn't make it any less dangerous though. At one point, the god of destruction tried to destroy the Nine Realms, and had it not been for the combined might of the Nine Demon Lords, Kami, Shinigami, and the Elemental Lords, we wouldn't be standing here now. Hold on, please. Here, you're losing me. That's unfortunate, but could you clarify what you mean by realms? Right, sorry. Basically, there are 9 realms. You exist within the realm of mortals, and when you die, your soul will go to the purgatory where you will be judged. From there, depending on your thoughts and actions in life, your soul will go to either heaven, which is where pure souls go to exist in eternity, or hell, which is where souls go when they have committed crimes so terrible that they forsake their right to ascend, forever. Naruto's gaze expanded. The Jinchuriki, though a shinobi, was still only a young teenager and could not really understand why someone would do something so terrible that it would banish them from heaven for all eternity. Hard as it may be to understand, there are souls who would go to that length for any number of reasons, be they mortal, demon, or otherwise. They eventually transform into devils to reflect on the outside what they truly are on the inside. Naruto was frightened by this. Anyways, continuing on, my kind generally exists in the realm of demons, also known as Makai, while the animal summons you shinobi have contracts with live in the realm of nature. Finally, there's the realm of the elements, the realm of the immortals, which is where you'd find the lesser gods, angels, divine beasts, etc. And the realm of the divine, which is where higher gods like Kami, Sama or Shinigami, Sama exist. And connecting all these realms together is the void, which isn't a realm in itself since it has no physical plane that we know of, but it is still a power nonetheless. Okay. What relevance does that have to the sword, then? The gods cannot directly interfere with the mortal realm. It is one of the few laws that all gods must obey, whether they like it or not. But that same rule doesn't apply to their followers, and many of them escaped into the mortal realm, despite our best efforts. That is why we demon lords are here in the elemental nations. We were tasked with finding and destroying them all. Unfortunately, you mortals interfered, sealing us away for our powers, the Kyuubi said, grumbling that last comment and causing Naruto to wince. To think, what did the shinobi do to show gratitude for the Biju's initial protection of the elemental nations? To use their powers, lock them away. Seems sense why they detested people so greatly. Anyways, with so many of the god of destruction's followers in the mortal realm, the other gods decided to bestow you mortals with several gifts to protect yourselves. Your bloodline limit, Tentai, heavenly body, was one of those gifts, and that sword is another. Wow, was all Naruto could say as he studied the sword with a fresh sense of respect. Tentai and Tenyu were gifts from the goddess of life, Kami. Sama, correct? Correct. Would I really be permitted to wield a sword this amazing? Assuming you pass its test, yes. Test? Which test? Tenyu, Heavenly Grace, is a holy sword that is completely and utterly indestructible. It is also one of the few weapons in all the realms that can channel celestial chakra. To ensure that the blade can never be misused, Kami Sama made sure that it can only be wielded by an Uzumaki that has activated Tentai and one who has passed the blade's test. How can a sword test me, though? I mean, it's just a sword? It's a sword created and sent by Kami herself. Is it really so surprising that it would be sentient? Oh, right, good point. What sort of test, then, will this be? I don't know. I'm a demon lord. I would never be allowed to use the sword, let alone be given its test. You'll just have to find out on your own. With a frown, Naruto studied the legendary sword once more before an inquiry entered his mind. No, Meigetsu-san. What other blessings were given to this planet? Actually, quite a few, Meigetsu replied. I don't know them all, but I do know that there's Shiki, death penalty, Mugetsu, moonless sky, Kusanagi no Tsurugi, grass, mowing sword, and the aim no Nuboko, heavenly jeweled spear, though that one was supposedly returned to the gods at some point. There are also talismans left by the elemental lords, with each one supposedly giving the user near total control over an element. I believe your Nindem Hokage found the talisman of lightning and used it to create his sword, the Raijin no Ken, sword of the thunder god. Oh my god, Naruto exhaled. Gigi, do you know the history behind this sword? He asked, glancing at the Sandaime, who was watching him intently but waiting patiently. I do, Naruto-kun. Which is why I am offering you the chance to wield it. Whether you pass its test or not, I know you will be a great shinobi and an even greater man. The trust that his surrogate grandfather had in him made Naruto smile. Arming himself, he took a step forward. He traced every centimeter of the fabled blade with his eyes, thinking, it's even more beautiful up close. All right, he swallowed. This is the crucial moment. As soon as he grabbed the sword's handle, everything became dark. Naruto gave a blink. He was lost in his own world. There was nowhere in Konoha like this picture. Perfect setting of rolling green hills and dense forests with a huge mansion at its heart. That was further confirmed by seeing Meigetsu, who had fled her house when she felt his presence. The Kyuubi asked in shock, Naruto? What are you doing here? Weren't you going to take the Tenyu's test? Naruto exclaimed, appearing equally perplexed, that's what I thought, but... 1 second, I'm picking up the sword, and the next, I'm here. How did I end up here anyways? That could be attributed to me, a ghostly voice abruptly said. Abruptly, a plethora of light swept across the field. It seemed to envelop them both as it sparkled and shone in a way that was absolutely indescribable but unquestionably beautiful. Then it started to come together. It shone brighter and brighter until it settled, exposing a stunning woman whose appearance seemed to change all the time. Naruto saw before him the face of human life itself, in all its exquisite forms, tall and short, skinny and fat, busty and petite, red hair, brown hair, blonde, black, old and young. He started to cry over it. Naruto was aware that the woman in front of him could only be a single entity. He bowed. Kami-sama. Meigetsu knelt down beside him as well. She said, hello, Kami-sama. To what do we owe this honor? Her tone was surprisingly lighthearted. Oh, please get up, Mei-chan. The god laughed and gave the demon a hug. One that was gladly given back. It's good to see you again after all these years. We've missed you. Meigetsu drew back and gave the god in front of her a close inspection. I've missed you too, and it's good to see you, she said. Or at least, a projection of you. You know full well that I can't directly interact with the mortal realm. This is the best I can do given the circumstances, and besides, if I were to even send a fragment of myself, the power alone would destroy the boy and half the planet in the process. She laughed a little as she observed Naruto gape at the goddess's power and responded, true. I take it you're here to administer the test? The goddess of life turned to face Naruto, who had not yet raised his head, and said, yes. She gave a quiet smile. Raise your head, Naruto-kun. As good as it is to see Meigetsu-chan, I am here for you. Naruto slowly lifted his head and stood, eyes wide. You're administering the test, Kami-sama? Yes, I am, Naruto-kun. I already know that your mind, heart, and soul are pure. You have proven that time and again throughout your short life, and in my eyes, I believe that you're already worthy to wield Tenyu. So instead, what I will be testing is your strength of will and your strength of heart. Huh? Meigetsu and Naruto asked in unison, tilting their heads in different directions. Observing the two mimicking one another, Kami grinned and laughed. You saw just a few weeks ago that the curse that had Meigetsu-chan attacking Konoha is still somewhat in effect. And while the awakening of your bloodline has defeated the majority of it, there are still some remnants of it within her. That was quite the surprise. It didn't sound good either. I will draw out the curse, but it is your task to destroy it. Understand this though, Naruto. Kun, the curse is powerful enough to affect a demon lord. It warped Meigetsu Chan's mind and directed her to attack your village despite her positive history with its people prior to the attack. I have no doubts it will also purposely take the forms of people who make you angry so that it can influence you. Naruto scowled. His success would depend on far more factors than he had anticipated. Could he handle the challenge? Could he actually pull this off? Abruptly, slender arms encircled him, drawing the boy into an embrace. Don't start doubting yourself now, Naruto. Kun. I believe in you. I know you can do this. Unbidden, a smile appeared on his lips. Indeed. Intended for Meigetsu. He was capable of this. He was not going to fail. Naruto turned to face Kami, his expression determined. I'm ready, Kami. Sama. Brace yourself, Naruto. Kun. You won't like this one bit. Abruptly, black smoke started to ascend from Meigetsu and condense into a shape. The limbs took shape first, followed by the legs, and finally the entire body. Spicy and tall with blonde hair? A voluminous white coat? Naruto's gaze expanded. No, he knew that expression. It belonged to the person who he had once looked up to. Now, that someone was in charge of all the pain he had gone through. Yondaime Hokage. Naruto could already feel his rage rising. The figure grinned, his face marred by a decidedly twisted expression. Hello, Naruto. Kun. How has life been? You bastard, he snarled. Curse taunted, what's wrong, Naruto? Kun? Didn't you enjoy the life I gave you? He lost his temper. With murder in his eyes, Naruto had quickly closed the gap between them, his leg already in mid-swing toward the man's face. Collier, neck. Wham. The fake Yondaime Hokage somehow saw through Naruto's attack in the moment it took him to cross the distance, and he responded with a strong kick of his own. Their legs collided, and for an instant, time stopped and their gazes locked, only to be broken when the man's kick overwhelmed Naruto's, sending him flying into the earth. The curse mocked, so weak. Is that the best you can do? Or are you as weak as everyone in Konoha believes you to be? Pushing himself up onto his feet, Naruto spit out a glob of blood and glared at his opponent. He exclaimed, it's not over yet. Futon. Repusho, Gale Palm. The curse was taken aback by the abrupt use of ninjutsu, which sent him flying backward in the direction of Naruto, who materialized behind him. With two kicks, he sent his opponent flying into the air where a clone was waiting, his foot already swinging deadly intently. Coatlet, rib. Cell, lower back. The fake Yondaime was sent spinning by the strong kick, but before he could land, two more clones appeared, and the four Narutos began an unrelenting combination of kicks. Boss coat, shoulder roast. Longe, loin. Collar tendron. Stomach, flinch. Almost, rump. Tail in line, please. Kuaso, thigh. Jarrett, shin. Veal shot, indeed. The finisher, unleashed by all four Narutos simultaneously, hit their opponent squarely in the middle of his torso, packing enough force to smash boulders. The imposter Yondaime let out a cry as he was launched through several trees in the air, eventually landing on the ground and lying there motionless. A moment of silence was followed by the words, "Get up." Not a response. There's no way that was enough to finish you, Naruto growled, giving his opponent a fierce, angry look. Get your ass up so I can kick it and you into a bloody pulp properly. Stillness. Then, hey. Naruto's gaze grew strained. Ha 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 ha. Heh heh heh. So this is the extent of your strength, Naruto? The curse suddenly shot up onto his feet, completely unharmed, and he pointed at the Jinchuriki with a crazed expression in its eyes. I was accurate. You're not strong. Too weak to ever achieve any of your dreams, and too weak to defeat me. Aura. The man exclaimed, and his clones were destroyed before Naruto could process what he had said. Blows rained down upon him and the Jinchuriki found himself utterly unable to defend. His body screamed in protest, but the assault was unrelenting. What's wrong, Naruto? Naruto, I believed you had promised to beat me to a bloody pulp. Come on. Strike back, Strike back. Or is this your best option? It's not finished yet. With Herculean effort, Naruto parried some of the attacks and retaliated with a sweeping kick. Jigget, legs. Not up to par. With ease, the curse sidestepped the blow and struck the boy in the cheek with his fist. Collier's neck. Apal, or the shoulder. Too feeble. Coatlet, rib. Lower back cell. Is that it? Is that your only option? Breast of Poitrine. How pitiful. Would you like me to demonstrate the proper technique for a beatdown? Mouton shot, also known as the button shot, yay. Tragically, the curse didn't let up as the fake Yondaime suddenly materialized next to him, driving his elbow into Naruto's stomach, forcing the air out of his lung and sending blood flying as he hit the ground. The attack was immediately followed by a crushing axe. Kick that, with an audible snap, broke at least 2 of Naruto's ribs. Gah. Oh no. Naruto, this is your limit. This is where you will perish. Once again, Meigetsu will be under my command, and this time, I will see to it that everything in the mortal realm is destroyed. Best wishes, Naruto. The world of the shinobi will end because of your failure here, the curse laughed. He's too strong. What can I do? What can I do? Naruto thought to himself, coughing up blood as the foot pressed harder and harder against his broken ribs. No, I can't give up now. This is for Meigetsu. San. This is for the world. I can't give up. I won't. Focus, Naruto, you can do this. I just need 1 second. Just 1 second and I can beat him. He looked at Meigetsu, who was watching the fight with a look of worry and concern on her face. Holy Sword Style, Celestial Slash, or Saitoryu, Tenjiri. The fake Yondaime was struck by a wave of pure golden white chakra, which sent him flying backwards with a groan of pain and black blood spurting from the gash that opened up across its chest. He crashed into the ground, whereupon he was immobilized by the sudden wrapping of holy energy around him. Who? Naruto glanced up feebly. The woman was stunning. At 5.5 feet tall, with long, fiery red hair, violet eyes, and a slender figure, she carried Tenyu in her right hand while wearing an exquisite white kimono with intricate gold patterns sewn onto it. However, it was not these details that drew Naruto's attention. Rather, it was the angelic wings attached to her upper back. Tenshi, Angel. Naruto. Chan, I promise to ground you for all of eternity if you don't kick this curse's ass. Is that understood correctly? His gaze grew wide. No, it isn't possible. But as the woman smiled lovingly and looked into his eyes, he couldn't help but notice the warmth and hope that were beginning to bloom in his heart. Ka. San? Naruto whispered. The angel nodded with tears in her eyes. H. How? To Naruto's surprise, she revealed, I was the last wielder of the Tenyu, Naruto. Chan. The sword will always give help to those who selflessly ask for it. And you've already done that. I have so many questions for you, Ka. San, Naruto said, wiping tears from his eyes. I want to tell you too, so much. And I want to hear every bit of it, Naruto. Chan, the angel said, her heart breaking at the expression in her son's eyes. I promise you there is nothing more I could want. Really. However, I know that my time here is fleeting and that my soul will eventually return to heaven. How dare I? Not at all. My first hug from my mom, he thought, clinging even more to his mother. Don't go, Ka. San, as he pushed himself back onto his feet with what little strength remained and all but fell into his mother, his arms wrapping around the angel's waist. Tears fell as the woman's arms circled him and held him tight. With a choked voice, she replied, I don't want to either, Naruto. Chan, but we don't have a choice. Drawing back, she met her boy's eyes and tried to remember everything she could before having to leave. Never forget, Naruto. Chan, that I love you. I will be watching you from above because I love you with everything that I am. The boy gave a feeble nod. Good. The angel turned to face the curse, who had healed his wound but was still having trouble with the chains. The moment has come, Naruto. Take up the holy sword and beat this son of a bitch with all the fury of heaven itself. She said, passing her son the handle of Tenyu. Naruto, fight. And turn into Kami's champion. Strength shot through Naruto's body as he grasped the legendary blade, and he launched himself at the curse, Tenyu raised high and glowing with heavenly energy, with a mighty roar. Saitoryu. Tenjiri, holy release. Celestial slash. There was no chance for the curse. Cracks started to appear across the fake Yondaimi's face, then its arms, then legs, and then its entire body. Suddenly, the curse threw its head back and let loose an unearthly scream as the holy chakra began to consume him. However, before the curse could even cry out in pain, Naruto had plunged his sword straight through its heart and unleashed every single bit of holy chakra into the being's body. It must not end like this, it cried, managing to speak despite the pain. My intention. My goal. I'm not going to fail. The heads of Meigetsu and Naruto shot up, and in the next moment, Tenyu was pointed at the curse's neck by the Jinchuriki, who growled, "What mission? What topic are you discussing? If you respond, I'll end your suffering." The curse did not react. Somehow, in the middle of its suffering, it gave Naruto an incredibly menacing smile right before the holy energy overcame him. He let out another cry and let out one last, "No." It disappeared in a blinding flash of white light. Oh, Kami. Sama, I'm sore. At least it's finally over, Naruto thought, his adrenaline suddenly leaving him. He felt exhausted, both mentally and physically, but it was all worth it when he saw the brilliant smile on the Kyuubi's face as she ran up to him and then embraced him tightly. Well done. I'm grateful, Naruto. Kun. Meigetsu hugged the boy closer as she sobbed, "You were incredible. So soft, yet firm, no bad thoughts." Thank goodness Meigetsu didn't hear those thoughts, though at this rate, it wouldn't matter since he was rapidly losing air. Naruto turned bright red. His face was being pressed into the Kyuubi rather generous bust. "I feel like you're choking me." Meigetsu released his hold instantly and leapt back, saying, "Oh, Naruto. Kun, I'm so sorry. How are you doing?" Not once did the Kyuubi realize that she was only making her vessel even more embarrassing as she ran her hands over the teen, checking to see if she had damaged him anywhere. "I'm okay, Meigetsu. San." Grabbing the woman's hands, Naruto uttered, "Really, I'm okay. Are things going well for you?" Meigetsu gave Naruto another hug with gentleness, and a soft, stunning smile appeared on her face. "I've never felt better. Thank you, Naruto. Kun. I'm grateful." Once more, Naruto flushed. The constant attention and care that Meigetsu had shown him over the past few months had quickly turned into a crush on the demoness. Her actions at the moment weren't helping either, but at the same time, Naruto realized that his feelings for her would always be one-sided. "I can't let these feelings get any stronger. I'm her jailer and she's an immortal demoness with a mate. Even if she wasn't sealed or with someone already, she'd have no reason to be attracted to me," he said, finding it difficult to let go of the demoness, especially when she was in his arms. "Yes, Naruto. Kun, good job." A voice from behind them said, "Well done indeed. You have overcome that which was beyond you for the sake of saving another." The hugging pair turned to see Kami approaching them and quickly parted, much to one boy's dismay, not that he'd ever say that aloud. Realizing this, Tenyu taught you how to use the first Saitoryu, holy sword style, technique, the Tenjiri, celestial slash. I also acknowledge your extraordinary willpower, bravery, and most importantly, your selflessness and purity. Because of this, I now declare you deserving of using my blade to battle the evil forces that terrorize the Tenyu, the mortal realm. Best wishes, Naruto. Kun. With a beaming smile that covered his face, Naruto watched as Tenyu vanished from his grasp and resurfaced on his hip, guarded by a stunning scabbard. Tenyu's consciousness will eventually fully awaken and become a friend and mentor. Some basic sword training would be beneficial until then. Naruto nodded at the wise counsel of the deity. Remember, too, that a divine weapon cannot be replicated, so your clones, unless they receive the blade, will have to rely on their taijutsu. You will surely encounter many obstacles in your life as my champion. And I feel like a lot of things, both good and bad, are going to happen in the next few days. I won't tell you what these events are, but I will tell you to work hard in your training and remember what your teacher said yesterday. The Jinchuriki blinked, then nodded once more. All right. I have to leave now, but we will cross paths again soon. Until the next time, Meigetsu. Chan, Naruto Uzumaki. The goddess of life then smiled brightly at them both and vanished. Naruto. Kun, you ought to go too. The Hokage is undoubtedly still waiting for you. Aha. I'll speak with you later, Meigetsu-san. In all the excitement, Naruto had forgotten about his substitute grandfather. When Naruto awoke, it was dark, and he moaned as he sat up. Rubbing his eyes, the Jinchuriki looked around, realizing that he was back in the master bedroom on the bed. Gigi must have moved me when I started the test, he thought, stretching, and the fact that the Sandaime Hokage was dozing off in a nearby armchair seemed to confirm his theory. Glancing down, the boy grinned to see that Tenyu was strapped to his waist, its scabbard nearby. I know it wasn't a dream, but still, some of the things that have happened these past few months feel pretty outrageous to be real, he said, stretching. Leaping from the bed, he approached the elderly shinobi and gave him a firm shake. Oi! Gigi, wake up. Huh? Sarutobi said blearily. It had been a long day and getting some much-needed shut-eye in a house he knew was extremely well protected had been too tempting for the old man. Shaking himself out of his sleep, his eyes finally focused on the smiling face of his surrogate grandson. Naruto. Kun. You've returned. Does this imply that you passed the Tenyu test, then? With great enthusiasm, Naruto nodded and raised his sword to emphasize, yup. I also got to see my friend Ka-san. Your mom? B. But how? I'm not sure. She showed up out of nowhere in the middle of the test, just as I was about to lose. Naruto blushed in embarrassment as she said something about how Tenyu was the previous wielder of the sword and would always help those who humbly asked for it. She also threatened to ground me for the rest of eternity if I ever gave up. Only you, Kushina, would have the guts to threaten your son from the afterlife, Sarutobi said, barely suppressing a laugh. Gigi, I understand that you advised me to hold off until I reached Jonin level, but I was hoping you could tell me her name since I saw her. Would you please? The older had never seen the boy so shy and full of hope, and who could say no when presented with that. Kushina Uzumaki was her name. She also told you, I'm sure, how much she loved you. The Hokage's heart was nearly melted by the watery smile he received in return. Yes, I understand now, Gigi. I'm grateful. All right. Before we head to bed for the evening, one last thing. Naruto. Kun, I'm willing to let you live here, but I can't bear the thought of abandoning you here by yourself. Even with our village's patrols, you are still more exposed than the ordinary person because you are a few miles outside of Konoha. For this reason, I have requested that Yugo move in with you along with her fiancé, Gekko Hayate. They are fine with this arrangement and have been looking to purchase a home together for some time. Are you cool with that? Naruto nodded right away. Living in his parents' house would come with a small price, especially since he had missed Yugo and it would be nice to catch up. Still, it would probably limit some of the freedom he had grown accustomed to from living on his own for so long. Superb. Tomorrow, they'll move in. I think it's best we go to bed until then. After all, you had a busy day. I'll drop you off at your new house here, and I'll see you tomorrow for your mission. Hey. Ah. I nearly forgot. That's your reward for passing your Genin exam and proving to me how much you've grown these past 2 months, Naruto said, blinking as he realized he was holding the same scroll that Santoryu the Sandaime had offered him 2 months prior. After all, without knowing how to wield a sword, you cannot properly use Tenyu. With wide eyes, Naruto said, Thank you, Gigi. With a simple smile, the Hokage said, Naruto. Kun, have a good night. Kakashi slouchily said, Team 7 reporting for their first mission, from behind his book. Beside him, his 3 new genin were standing guard, though 2 of them could not help but stare at the exquisite sword that was fastened to Naruto's hip. Even so, the Hokage just chuckled as he started looking through the many rank scrolls, attempting to choose the ideal one to start the team's new life as shinobi. As he gave Kakashi the mission, Sarutobi grinned positively evilly. No, keeping that one for Team 10, no. Wait. No, I don't want the rubber chickens to permanently scar them. Yes. This one could work. The elite Jonin who inspired fear among the elemental nations flicked his wrist to open the scroll, glanced over the mission details, and then turned pale. Upon seeing the legendary copy, Nin's face, every other shinobi in the room assumed that he didn't. Kakashi let out a whimper. He did, you cruel, evil man, Hokage. Sama. Indeed. Before clearing his throat, Sarutobi thought, let's see how they handle her. Team 7. Your first mission is to catch one of our feudal lord's wife's house cat. Her name is Tora and she was last sighted in the northern forests of our village. Good luck. H. Hi, Kakashi uttered, his body displaying his utter fear of the task while his students watched in utter bewilderment. Let's go, team. We have a cat to catch. For 3 hours. For 3 whole hours. 3 agonizing and completely absurd hours had passed since the commencement of Team 7's initial mission. The new genin first assumed that the cat was just exceptionally cunning because it had taken them an hour to locate the damn animal. However, when they attempted to capture it, they encountered the furry equivalent of an uncontrollably violent, extremely sharp blender. Their entire body hurt and ached right now. Their eyes twitched with rage and maybe a hint of madness. Their clothing was filthy, torn, and covered in scratches on every square inch. They persisted though. They refused to back down. And in their minds, only one thing was crystal clear. That cat needs to go. Haha. Oh. Shit. Sasuke. Dodge. Whack. How the fuck did it cut down a tree? WHO cares? Sakura. On your left. Shanaru. The forest floor was covered in weaponry, burned marks, and ruined vegetation, but Tora had managed to escape unharmed, even after the 3 genin had tried to do absurd amounts of damage to their intended victim. The cat continued to dodge Sakura's thrown kunai and shuriken even now. Hold still and let me skin you alive, you evil furball. Kaden. Gokakyu no Jutsu, Fire Release, Great Fireball Technique. Saidoryu. Tenjiri, Holy Sword Style, Celestial Slash. Suddenly, from 2 sides came a blazing fireball and a crescent of holy energy, both obviously intended to kill. Tora managed to avoid the attack and let out a mocking yowl at the people who had attacked her, even with its strategic layout and element of surprise. Naruto cried out, damn it. How does it keep avoiding our attacks? As he and Sasuke leapt from the treetops and landed next to Sakura. With all of her weapons depleted, the pinkette was panting heavily and all she could do was give the incarnation of primordial evil the stink eye. Naruto. Glancing at Sasuke, the blonde indicated that he was paying attention. You said you can cook, right? He gave a nod. You wouldn't happen to know how to cook Demon Cat, would you? Shivering several yards away, Kakashi watched everything from the treetops, and a positively evil smile spread across Naruto's face. I don't, but I wouldn't be opposed to doing some experiments. I have some basic ingredients on me so we can start testing dishes immediately. Sakura sensed the slightly insane mood right away. Hee, nay, would you let me skin it, Naruto? Of course, Sakura. Chan. And Sasuke can do the roasting with his Kaden ninjutsu. Just you wait, you despicable furball. I will burn you into a crisp before this mission is over. Actually, Naruto had paused and removed a shichirin from one of his storage scrolls. A shichirin is a portable charcoal cooking stove that resembles a grill top strapped to a bucket or box. With tenyu in one hand and a pair of tongs in the other, he was prepared to cut, dice, and do any other type of cooking that would hurt the evil creature. I believe that's my signal to butt in, Kakashi thought to himself as he leapt to the ground and grabbed the cat before his crazy kids could carry out their scheme. Okay, I think that's enough. Let's go report back to the Hokage. But Kakashi. Sensei. Don't you want to know what grilled devil cat tastes like? Nope. Naruto asked, pulling out a deep fryer from somewhere. What about fried? No, Naruto. Boiled? He inquired, indicating a pot that was already bubbling with water. How did why? Never mind. Just no. Roasted? Is that a portable oven? Stir-fried? No, Naruto. And put that wok away. How about skinned, tenderized, marinated in sake, soy sauce, and vinegar, seasoned with salt, pepper, dill, crushed garlic, and rosemary, lightly braised and then baked in the oven for an hour with mixed vegetables and sliced apples? As much as he hates to admit it, no. That did sound nice. Excellent. Raising the now frightened cat, Kakashi gave it a long, hard look as though he was really thinking about accepting Naruto's offer. Sakura and Sasuke both leaned in, as if hoping their teacher would accept their teammate's invitation to help with the cooking and preparation. Regretfully, Kakashi's sense of obligation prevailed. Nope. Sorry, kids. It's bad form to fail your first mission. 3 of them hung their heads and one of the cats gave a loud cry of relief. Come on, team. Let's report back to the Hokage. Hi. You seem disappointed you weren't allowed to cook the cat, Naruto. Kun. That's because I really am. Have you seen the damage it caused? What kind of house cat, after all, could chop through a 6-foot diameter tree trunk? Walking back from the Hokage tower, Naruto gripped. He needed the Santoryu scroll he had left behind in order to begin his sword training as soon as possible. The Jinchuriki would not be seeing the rest of his team until tomorrow for training, as they had all gone their separate ways, either to train or to socialize. Are you certain that Monstrosity isn't the Nibi's bastard cousin or something? Meigetsu chirped, positive, as she lazed in one of the many meadows of the mindscape. Believe me, the Nibi would have squashed that pest centuries ago if she knew about it. And then she'd smack you around too for thinking that she and that pest were related. Really? Really? Being smacked around by a giant flaming cat was not his idea of a fun afternoon. Okay then, I'll be sure to remember that, he said. Nay, is there a name for the Nibi as well? Yup. All the Biju have names. But before you ask, I won't tell you what they are. Names have power, especially a demon's name, so you'll have to earn it from each of them. Naruto gave a shrug. Just enough. Also, I feel that I should tell you the difference between demons and devils. Is there a distinction? Yes, there is. In fact, to say that the two are the same is a huge insult to demons everywhere. Oh, I apologize, Meigetsu. San. The demon lord responded, it's okay. I know you don't understand the difference, which is why I'm doing this. Now, do you remember what I said about how devils are created? Yes. You mentioned that the souls sent to hell are what created them. Correct. Devils are all souls that are corrupt and irredeemable. They have committed heinous crimes and feel no remorse for what they've done. They eventually transform into devils to reflect their inner darkness, said Meigetsu. Demons, however, are different. We are souls that have committed crimes, but can still be redeemed. In the purgatory, souls are given many different paths for redemption, but one of them is to serve the gods as soldiers. Any soul that chooses that option is transformed into a demon. As you can imagine, shinobi often pick this path. Naruto's eyes grew wide upon learning this new detail. If that's the case, why do mortals view demons as evil? It's a combination of different things. For one, not all demons end up being redeemed. Quite a few have failed their trials and became devils. Additionally, our dark pasts and purpose as soldiers makes us more violent than our angelic counterparts. If it comes to a fight, we won't hesitate to jump in. We also take the forms of monstrous creatures to better combat devils. Fight fire with fire, if you will. Those must not be the only explanations. You're learning. Good, Meigetsu remarked with approval. Yes, you are right. The main reason why we are still considered to be evil by mortals is a test by the gods. If we are truly to be redeemed, then we must be able to handle all the disgust and hatred mortals throw at us and rise above it. That being said, only those who have reached a certain point in their cleansing can enter the mortal world, though some do escape on occasion. So, how are you doing now? Naruto inquired. You referred to oneself as the Demon Lord. Does that make a difference? Oh, yes. For one, Demon Lords were created by Kami, Sama and the other greater gods. Our purpose is to serve as not only the general of the demon armies, but also as judges of the redeemable. We are the ones who make the initial decision of whether or not a soul has been cleansed of its sins and is worthy to enter heaven. It's why we possess the ability to sense negative emotions, something you have begun to develop yourself, and that brings me to my next point. What is that? As you know, part of the agreement we made was that I'd lend you my power should the situation call for it. Now while your body has adapted to the minute flow of demonic chakra I unconsciously release, getting a larger dosage may prove too much for you to handle without getting a feel for it too. Alright, so what will occur? Increased strength, speed, senses, reactions, and overall power. You'll also feel heightened emotions. Demonic chakra contains our very essence, and we experience everything to a higher degree than you mortals. So whatever you're feeling the moment you access my chakra, it'll be magnified tenfold. Thus, what happens if I get, say, angry? Then I'll lose it completely? Yes, at least for now. Fantastic. Given time, your body and mind will adapt and you'll be able to retain your sense of reason when you access my power. That's good to hear, then. I shouldn't have many intense feelings now that I'm feeling at ease, is that right? Correct, which is why I want to start. It seems like a good idea, Naruto said while seated in the open fields close to his house. Okay, Meigetsu. San. I'm prepared. Brace yourself, Naruto. Kun. There was a primal feeling. Naruto felt stronger than ever as a sudden, thrilling surge of power ran through him. He had the impression that he was stronger than a locomotive, that he could leap over the Hokage monument in one bound, and that he could run faster than the Yondaime. The man of steel. Wait, apologies, incorrect story. Okay, good. You're getting a feel for my powers. However, I'm still suppressing the heightened senses. You're lucky it's so quiet out here, otherwise you'd be in a world of hurt once I let them through. Either way, it's going to be disorienting, so tell me when you're ready. Meigetsu. San, I'm ready, Naruto declared, bracing himself. Then it dawned on him. One could only refer to it as a sensory assault. It seemed as though everything had been hazy before and was only now becoming apparent. His eyes had grown incredibly sharp. Similar to a hawk's. He could literally count the individual wingbeats of a nearby buzzing bee and see so much farther into the distance. He'd also improved his sense of touch. He could sense the slight tremors from each step the family of deer took in the nearby earth, so he knew they were there. Even though the village was 2 miles away, he could still hear its bustle, so, wait, was that it? That scent, too. It had an aroma similar to Naruto, that was a kid crying. And I smell blood. Get your ass moving. Now. Naruto shot into the air. He shot off in the direction of the sound and smell, his enhanced body making everything around him a blur. And when he arrived, he saw something that turned him red and made Meigetsu want to scream bloody murder in his brain. A small group of shinobi and villagers stood in a circle in the clearing. They were all carrying copper pipes or ordinary kitchen knives. And in the center of the circle lay a family of dead foxes, guarded by a small, bruised boy who had tried so bravely to keep them safe. Though he appeared unconscious at this point, he had made a heroic attempt to shield the last remaining fox, a small orange brown kid, from the oncoming villagers by throwing his battered body over it. Suddenly leaping to his feet and brandishing his holy sword, Naruto exclaimed, "What the fuck do you think you're doing?" The unexpected intrusion startled the villagers, but when they realized who it was, their expressions became glum. You. It's the demon. How'd he find us out here? A villager strode forward with confidence, sneering, "Who cares? You want to know what we're doing, demon? We're getting rid of your kind. Any and all supporters you have, we're wiping them out. I don't know what you did to that child, but he's protecting the demons and for that, he'll die too." Another villager exclaimed, "Yeah. And after that, we're going to kill you, Kyubi." As a wave of unbelievable murderous intent passed over the group, the others applauded in agreement but then fell silent. It was strong, oppressive, and gave them the impression that they were nothing more than insignificant insects in front of the boot that would soon crush them. And even the civilians could see where all that power originated from. The Jinchuriki stalked silently toward them, wisps of golden-white chakra tinged with fiery red swirling around him. And he was gone from sight. Where'd he go? Did he run? Shit, we can't let him escape. If he gets to the Hokage, we're screwed. We broke the law. One of the villagers raised his knife to slay the helpless boy at his feet, saying, "Then we'll hunt him down and kill him. But first, we have to get rid of this garbage," only to discover that the boy and the fox kid had vanished. To dare attack an innocent child, is your hatred so strong that you refuse to see the truth before you? Even the lowly Chunin shinobi among them could not locate Naruto as his voice seemed to reverberate throughout the group. Angrily, a villager exclaimed, "Show yourself, demon." Another said, "Forget him. Let's just get out of here and report to the Hokage. If we do things right, we can get the demon brat executed." "You think so?" An aging voice inquired abruptly. A shiver ran down everyone's backs. That voice was familiar to them. They turned slowly and saw the Sandaime Hokage standing with the Jinchuriki of the village and an Anbu squadron. Naruto had been holding the child and fox kid that they had been beating on tightly. And Sarutobi's expression was deadly serious. As punishment for the crimes of revealing an S-rank secret, the attacking of an innocent and defenseless child, and the intent to lie to your Hokage, all of you are hereby sentenced to death. Anbu. Kill them. Hi, Hokage. Sama. No. Still, it was much too late. The best and the brightest soldiers in Konoha made up the Anbu, the elite of the elite. They were shocked to learn that a group of civilians and low-ranking Chunin had all been brutally slain in a matter of seconds. And Naruto made himself watch through it all. This was the harsh reality of the shinobi life. Furthermore, it embodied the ideals that the Jinchuriki sought to uphold, defending the defenseless. To keep them safe from the evils of this world. As the last of the condemned fell, the Hokage said sternly, "You did the right thing, Naruto-kun. Despite your growth these past couple months, fighting 2 Chunin and several civilians while trying to protect the child and fox kid would have proven too much for you. Sending a clone to alert me was the smart thing to do in this situation." Naruto stated, "I couldn't afford to be direct with these two in danger," as he cast his gaze over the injured boy and the fox pup. The Jinchuriki could tell the boy was only 3 or so years old now that he was close and not in danger. Like the indigenous people of Kumo, he had dark complexion, striking white hair, and a terribly thin body clad in rags. And yet, he held the fox kid tenderly in his arms, even in his present state of unconsciousness and frailty. Naruto could not help but wonder, what should we do with them? That depends. I recognize the child. His name is Isamu. Naruto grinned. Fitting. He definitely showed a lot of courage today. Indeed, he did. Unfortunately, Isamu here is an orphan. Why he is so far from the village, I can only guess, and none of them are good explanations. Because of his appearance and suspected parentage, Isamu has been bullied by many of the other orphans and treated badly by the matrons. The Hokage suddenly began to look tired. I've tried to curb their behavior, but there's only so much I can do, and Isamu isn't the only one in the village in need of help. The Jinchuriki was taken aback when he looked up at his substitute grandfather. Naruto was unaware of how confining the position of Hokage could be, even though he was aware of its difficulty. However, it was also understandable at the same time. Sarutobi was merely one man attempting to manage all of the obligations and issues facing the nation. Surely some things would have gotten through that he just did not have time to handle. Naruto thought to himself, such is life, I suppose, as he glanced down again at the boy and the fox. The Kyuubi asked, "What do you want to do, Naruto?" "Kun? I believe you already know what I'm going to do." A broad grin appeared on the demonic goddess's mouth. "Yes, I do. It's your nature, after all. But I just wanted to be sure. You'll assist, correct?" "Of course, Naruto. Kun. I'm not going anywhere." Naruto turned back to face the Hokage and said, "Thank you." "Nay, Gigi. Do you think I could adopt them?" Thump. Sarutobi's eyes grew to the size of dinner plates as his jaw hit the floor. And the Anbu would have been mirror reflections of their Hokage if they hadn't been wearing masks. "Eh? Are you sure, Naruto-kun?" inquired the aged shinobi. Adopting the fox kid is one thing, but raising a young child as well is an enormous responsibility. "And you're only 13. Naruto scowled. The Hokage brought up a valid point. His career as a shinobi was just getting started. Not being able to take the child or the fox kid with him, he would surely be spending a lot of time on missions outside the village. However, he also didn't want the child to go through what he had as an orphan. Put simply, there was not a choice. "Gigi. I am partially responsible for this fox's family. And by extension, the boy was put into danger simply for wanting to protect them. What kind of shinobi, no, what kind of person would I be if I refused to take responsibility simply because I thought it would be too much work?" Naruto glanced back at the 2 orphans. "Besides, I feel a connection to the 2 of them. They are alone in this world now, just like how I was. I wouldn't wish my childhood on anyone, and if it's within my power to help, I will." He returned his gaze to the Hokage. "Please, Gigi, let me do this. They need me as much as I need them." Sarutobi was proud of his surrogate grandson more than he had ever been before. Very well, Naruto-kun. I will allow it, but you will be under strict observation to ensure that the child and the fox kid are well taken care of. Hokage-sama. With a hopeful expression on her face, Yugo stood in front of the two as they turned around. A gentle smile appeared on the ANBU's face as she said, Hokage-sama, since Hayate and I are to live with Naruto-kun, we will also gladly care for the child as well. She touched her belly and said, we've always wanted a child, but certain circumstances. This may be our chance. We could even adopt him given Naruto-kun's age and status as a Jinchuriki. The Hokage exclaimed, now that sounds like a splendid idea. I will prepare the necessary paperwork to formalize the adoption. With any luck, the process shouldn't take more than a couple days. However, I'll need to register the fox kid as your companion, Naruto-kun. Is that all right? The young man gave a nod. Excellent. Oh, and for the paperwork, do you wish to give the little one a name? After giving it some thought, Naruto's mind raced through several dozen names, but none of them seemed appropriate. And Meigetsu-san, any recommendations? Meigetsu-san? Hitomi. Huh? That was the name my maid and I wanted for our first daughter. Naruto's heart broke hearing her voice because it was so incredibly depressing. I understand that it might take a while for you to be with him again, but in the interim, you can assist Yugo-san and me in raising her. Yes, I would like that. Meigetsu-san, you'll see him again soon. Naruto thought, that's a promise of a lifetime, and felt a strange twinge in his own heart at that thought. However, he quickly brushed it off. Thank you, Naruto-kun. Now why don't you finish things up with the Hokage and take those two home? I'm sure they could use the rest. Oh, you're right, Naruto thought to himself as he looked up at Yugo and the Hokage, who had been patiently waiting for the boy to say something. Hitomi uttered. Her name is Hitomi. And from this day on, I will protect her and Isamu with my life. It had been a month since Team 7 was formally established. Many adventures had since taken place in the village, some of which the squad members would always recount in merrymaking. Similar to the occasion when they purchased groceries for a family and prevented them from going hungry. Or the occasion when Team 7 was summoned to defeat the greatest enemy of man, weeds. And maybe the best, most amazing mission of them all, the one that made all three teenagers examine their own desires and consider whether or not becoming shinobis was what they truly wanted, was the most horrifying of all. The stuff of dreams and enduring phobias. It was changing the senior council members' foul smelling diapers. That day, there were 3 garbage cans full of vomit and tears. Kakashi's face was even slightly zombie-like. Oh, the terror. The terror. They decided to pursue their careers despite having had several therapy sessions and with a great deal of reluctance. They trained when they weren't on missions. Up until now, Kakashi had mostly concentrated on team building activities while also attempting to raise Sakura's physical capabilities to par with those of her teammates. Sakura gave it her all despite the fact that it was difficult, demanding labor for the pinkette who had for years disregarded her training in favor of chasing her passion. Despite her strong reluctance to acknowledge it, she was aware that she was the least strong member of her team and was determined to change that. She was starting to close the gap with the boys with Kakashi's assistance, and she had even learned how to control her unusual sense. Unfortunately, even though Naruto and Sasuke understood their instructor's reasoning, that left them to fend for themselves, which irritated them both. However, they refrained from complaining. That would have been too immature and unmanly. Rather, they pouted briefly before devoting themselves to their own training, with Naruto concentrating on honing his current abilities, learning the fundamentals of the Santoryu style, and discovering more about his bloodline, a fact that had shocked his teammates, apart from Kakashi. Sasuke was concentrating on trying to learn new ninjutsu. Everybody could see that the two boys were getting bigger and bigger and that a fight to see who was stronger was about to break out. Apart from that, however, life went on. When not with his team, Naruto was usually found in the kitchen cooking, in the study experimenting with seals or with Hitomi and Isamu, the latter of whom was clearly shocked that he was adopted and had promptly taken to calling the Jinchuriki Iniki, a name that made Naruto cry like a man at the sheer awesomeness of it. as well as a very happy Yugo and Hayate, referring to them as San and San. They were an odd family, to be sure, a Jonin, a Jinchuriki genin, an orphaned boy who was obviously descended from Kumo, an Anbu captain, and a fox kid. But it worked and they were happy, so, you know, who cares? However, this is not a tale of Naruto's household life. Moving forward, we find ourselves back in the Hokage Tower, where Sakura, Sasuke, and Naruto were standing just now after returning from their most recent mission to locate and retrieve Tora the Demon House Cat, a cruel primordial evil. All three genin were now completely and totally tired of D-rank missions, even though it had only taken them an hour and they had only lost a few pints of blood between them, thanks to the ordeal. Naruto growled, glaring at the demonic cat with obvious murder, and possibly some insanity, in his eyes. Oi, Gigi. I am telling you right here and now, with Kami Sama as my witness, that if you send us to catch this thing again, I'm roasting it over a fire. He exclaimed. His teammates' expressions were exactly the same. Iruka chastised, barely stopping himself from using his big head technique, Baka. Show the Hokage more respect. Both Naruto and his allies disregarded him. Well, I do have some other missions you can do, Naruto-kun. You can weed Shizamichi. Dono's garden, fix Amy San's fence, walk the Inuzuka clan's dogs. No, Tora. Come back. After noticing all three genin fingering their weapons, Sarutobi trailed off, saying, or you can go catch Tor. Never mind. If only to protect what little sanity remained, perhaps it was time he sent the three of them out of the village. Actually, Team 7 has already fulfilled the requirements to do a C-rank mission, assuming your Jonin commander accepts. With hope evident on their faces, the trio of teenagers turned and gave Kakashi the puppy dog expression. Should I accept or reject? Kakashi just needed to consider it. Should he accept and end their hopeless D-rank mission days, or should he turn them down and ruin them for good? He turned to face his children. The three of them were pulling out guns. They were clearly seeing something burning in their eyes, a promise of agony and crushing humiliation should he refuse. That, then, settles that. Suppressing the shiver that ran down his spine at their faces, Kakashi thought. We accept, Hokage. Sama. Excellent. Your mission is to escort a bridge builder back to his homeland, the Land of Waves. Once there, you will protect him until the bridge is finished, which has been estimated to take about 3 weeks. The Hokage turned towards the entrance. You may come in now, Tazuna-san. The door opened, and a taller man with a bottle of sake clutched in his hand walked in, staggered. With a long swing and a belch, he leaned forward to examine each genin as they stared back at him. Tazuna complained, these are my escorts? They look like a bunch of brats. Emo duck. Ass over there looks like he's the fairy king of brood, Pinky here looks like she's trying to be the personal whore to the king of brood, and do you even know how to use that fancy sword of yours, or are you as dumb as you look, Blondie? Shit. Anbu. Whoa. Whack. Haha. Thud. With his sword in hand, Naruto was pinned to the ground and screamed, let go of me, Yugo. However hard he tried, he was unable to break free from the Anbu captain's grasp. I'm going to kill him. No, Naruto. Kun. Put the sword down. Not until I stab him. Let me go. Another Anbu, gripping his now bloody shoulder as he struggled with the Avenger, commanded, Uchiha. Sama. Please, calm down. Put the kunai down. Ow. Damn it, Gaki, put the damn kunai away. No. Please, don't, no. No. Please, Haruno. Sama, have merc. Whack. Iya. Anbu? The Nutcracker is Sakura Haruno's favorite move. All they could do was watch as the poor Anbu operative crumpled to the ground, clutching his broken family jewels with his eyes squeezed shut in pain. Luckily, or unfortunately, depending on your perspective, Sasuke and Naruto were sufficiently frightened by the deadly attack on what constitutes a man to instantly cease fighting, much to the other's relief. Still, that didn't stop them from giving Tazuna the stink eye, which made the poor inebriated man pale with fear. Everyone turned to face the Sandame, who had remained seated the entire time, saying only, ahem. After all, without witnessing some Interesting things, one does not become a Hokage for as long as he does. Moving on, Team 7, you and Tazuna. San will depart tomorrow at 0800 tomorrow. Good luck. On their first real mission, Team 7 and a sober Tazuna left Konoha's gates early the following morning. By early evening, they had already run into their first roadblock, boredom. The three teenagers could converse and take in the lovely surroundings, but eventually, they became so bored that they couldn't stand it. This was because they had to maintain a civilian pace. Thus, they acted as any well-reasoned, experienced shinobi would have. They engaged in an I Spy game. Your turn, Sakura. I spy with my little eye, something black and red. Firecrest Sparrow 13 meters to our 4 o'clock perched on the second branch from the bottom on the right hand side of the 6th tree. It's the 5th tree, Sasuke. Those two trees actually have the same base. I can see it from my angle. What? You're lying. I am not, you sore loser. Take a look yourself. TCH. Told you. Sorry, Sasuke. Kun. Naruto won this round. That's a point for me. HN, you're still behind me by 2. Not for long, Teme. My turn. Bring it on, dope. That's the ninja way to play it. These kids are weird, Tazuna said, viewing the strangest I Spy he had ever seen. However, their sensei didn't appear to be getting any better. He continued to read his porn while they were out and about. I'd better not think about that. At best, he would only have to put up with this for 3 weeks. Furthermore, Kakashi San is a Jonin, so he will protect me even if the brats are unable to. Tazuna was eyeing a certain one-eyed shinobi closely, but he never noticed it. Nay, Kakashi. Sensei? The senior shinobi spun around to see Sakura staring up at him with interest. He gave me an eye. Smile. Yes, Sakura? I've been wondering, are there any shinobi in the Land of Waves? No, not in the Land of Waves. But to be honest, such a thing is quite rare. Most nations have a hidden village, the Jonin answered. To the many countries of the continent, the existence of a shinobi village means military power. This is how they hold and maintain advantages over each other, though the hidden villages are not the overarching ruling body. Instead, they merely stand on equal ground with the country's government. Anyways, a small island country like the Land of Waves generally doesn't see much interference from the larger nations, so they don't really need a shinobi village. So we won't be fighting any foreign shinobi? With a smile on her face, Kakashi patted the pinkette's head. Of course not. This is just a C-rank mission after all. After hearing everything, Naruto shivered. What gives me the impression that Kakashi Sensei has sent an engraved letter to Fate to sabotage our mission? That's because he basically did. And I can already sense trouble up ahead. Kakashi noticed that Naruto had uttered a curse and was scouting the surroundings. What sort of issues? I'm not sure, but I think we may have some followers of the God of Destruction up ahead. Are you certain? Meigetsu. San is right, Naruto. Kun. Naruto had to summon all of his composure to keep from yelling out in shock at the unfamiliar voice speaking in his head. Nevertheless, much to everyone's dismay, it didn't stop him from tripping on air and almost falling face-first onto the ground. Who's there? He asked himself in his head. Don't worry, Naruto. Soothe yourself. That voice was Tenyu's consciousness just now, Meigetsu reassured. She just got out of bed. Tenyu's consciousness? Naruto. Kun, that is correct, the voice said. It had a gentle, melodic quality, like singing angels in heaven. His mind suddenly flashed to a picture of a stunning woman with glowing gold eyes, silvery blonde hair, transparent white wings sticking out of her back, and a long flowing white dress that accentuated her slender figure. Kami. Sama knew when she forged the sword that its wielder would confront numerous adversaries of evil and corrupting force. My spirit was bound to the blade in order to protect the wielder from corruption and to teach them of the many powers of the sword. So, as Kami Sama mentioned, you'll be my teacher and companion then. I will, indeed. You can address me as Rise. Whoa, Rise, divine nature. A suitable name. I guess it's good to meet you. What did you say now about the God of Destruction having adherents up ahead? I can clearly sense two individuals 3 miles ahead with the mark of the Dark God branded upon them. You must be very careful when facing them. With that mark, they can summon devils to do their bidding. I'm not sensing much in the way of power from these individuals, so the creatures they can summon won't individually be much stronger than a weak genin, but their sheer numbers can overwhelm you and your teammates, so stay focused. How about Kakashi? Sensei, please? After all, he's a jonin. He would not have any trouble. However, do not forget that even the greatest of shinobi can be unlucky or miss something in the heat of battle. After all, it only takes a stray kunai to end a person's life. I should warn him then, just to be safe, Naruto said as he slowed down and approached his sensei. Observing the serious expression on the Jinchuriki's face, his sensei subtly nodded to indicate that he was paying attention. Kakashi. Sensei, we have 2 hostiles coming up ahead. And they're not normal. Kakashi gave a single eyebrow lift. What do you mean? And how do you even know that? The boy indicated how he knew without saying anything, touching his stomach and then his sword lightly. The jonin understood and nodded. In their words, Naruto muttered. These guys can summon devils. The jonin's eye grew sharper, and Naruto noticed that the man's whole body abruptly changed into a combat. Ready state. He gave the blonde a close look. I know that sword, Naruto. I personally knew its last wielder and what it means to possess it. And I've fought devils before. Do you think we can handle them? Depends on how many there are. Individually, the devils are pretty weak. Nothing we can't handle one by one. Maybe even 2 at a time. But, as a pack, depending on their numbers, they could overwhelm us if we're not careful. And what about the summoners? Do you know how strong they are? Not sure. Low to mid chunin I think, but they are inside our borders and we're not that far from the village. All right, Kakashi said as he fell silent, his sharp mind running through dozens of possible outcomes for the impending circumstance. Okay, Naruto, here's what we're going to do. Gozu and Maizu were idle. Incredibly bored. Like anything, I'd rather be bored than poked with needles. They had been waiting for their target to come into their line of sight for the past few weeks. They were aware that the bridge builder had traveled to Konoha in order to obtain protection detail, but they were unsure of his exact return date. Therefore, each time their sensory abilities detected someone approaching, they had to wait and hide in their genjutsu. It was incredibly tedious and somewhat annoying. You can only play I Spy in one location so many times, after all. A deck of cards is what they ought to have brought. I spy with my little eye, something gr. Wait, brother, I think I sense someone. His brother. In. Law side. Let's get into position then. But I swear to the Dark God that if it's another merchant, or traveler, or a kami-forsaken parade of clowns and ducks, I will kill something. The 2 former mist shinobi vanished with a hand seal, leaving only a harmless puddle in their wake. They waited after that. How they detested having to wait. Having to wait for your targets when all you wanted to do was kill something was probably the most annoying thing about being a shinobi. Luckily for them, there wouldn't be much longer to wait. Tazuna and Team 7 were approaching on the road, and they didn't seem to be aware of the danger ahead of them. The target and the young genin gave their illusion no more than a cursory glance as they passed it, but the jonin gave it even less attention. A piece of cake, as they both considered. They awoke silently from their delusion. Gozu perched like a bird on his brother's arm. Maizu threw his brother over their targets with a sinister smile and a powerful heave of strength, encircling a shocked and completely unprepared jonin with their bladed chains. One little pig. X. Missed. Nin laughed together and tugged very hard. Shing. There was silence. The group was reduced to staring at the bloody remnants of what had once been a living, breathing man. Kyyyyyahhhh. Kakashi. Sensei. Was then said. Naruto yelled, "Don't lose focus, Sakura. Here they come." Before charging at the adversary. Jigget, legs. Sakura moved to intercept, but his attack missed, and the 2 missing nin continued their charge toward their true object, the bridge builder, without even turning to look back. Hano o Aoramasu, fanning the flames. Sasuke suddenly materialized beneath the charging opponents and launched a roundhouse kick with his right leg and a hook kick with his left. With both strikes striking Maizu and Gozu in the jaws, they were stunned just in time to see Naruto appear above them, his holy sword ready to skewer at least one of them into the ground. Maizu. Gozu managed to rescue his brother from danger with a strong pull on their linked chain. His solace was fleeting, though, as neither Sasuke nor Naruto allowed them to rest before going on the attack. Kaden. Gokakyu no Jutsu, Fire Release, Great Fireball Technique. Futon. Repusho, Wind Release, Gale Palm. With a powerful explosion, the area was suddenly engulfed in a roaring fire that was further enhanced by wind infused with chakras. The missing Nins were blown off their feet, covered in burns, and smashed into a nearby tree, so they didn't have a chance. Regretfully, Gozu met his demise at the hands of a broken branch. Arg. Gozu! Exclaimed Maizu. Gozu! Are you alright? The man with injuries moaned in return. He grabbed the branch feebly and, making a sickening noise, yanked it from his side. Gozu struggled to stay upright, his body trembling with every breath that hurt. I won't stay conscious much longer, brother. These guys are stronger than we thought. We should do that. I guess we have no choice, brother. Right you are, brother. When Naruto realized what they were going to do, his eyes grew wide, and he charged forward, yelling, "Stop them!" He was too late, though. Before he could even take 2 steps, the 2 former mist shinobi had already covered their marks with blood and slammed their hands into the ground. Kuro Kachiyose no Jutsu, Black Summoning Technique. A high-pitched, eerie screech erupted, and sulfurous smoke suddenly enveloped the area, causing Naruto's eyes to narrow. Dozens more answered the call shortly after. Bad. Shadow fiends, a whole pack of them too. Be very careful, Naruto warned Rise. Among the different species of lesser devils under the God of Destruction's power, shadow fiends are particularly vicious. Fantastic. When the smoke finally cleared and Team 7 was able to get a clear view of their new foes, Sakura screamed in terror and they turned pale. The shadow fiends were tall and somewhat humanoid looking, with armor resembling a carapace covering their skin, which was a dark gray color. A long, bladed tail swung back and forth in anticipation as 4 lanky arms, adorned with razor-sharp claws and spikes, tensed in anticipation at the sight of their prey. But that wasn't the most terrifying aspect of these monstrosities. No, their heads were the most terrifying thing. It resembled a raptor's in appearance, albeit smaller, with horns protruding from the back and covering its eyes. Their mouths featured a long, snake-like tongue that flicked hungrily across their mouths, several rows of serrated teeth and pincers. These animals were essentially terrifying things. And Naruto was not going to allow them to initiate contact. The blonde boy drew Tenyu and released a crescent wave of holy energy in one swift motion. Saitoryu. Tenjiri, Holy Sword Style, Celestial Slash. With eager screeches, the devils parted, easily dodging the holy attack and charging the genin in pairs. They would quickly discover, though, that their prey would not surrender easily. Collier neck. Spit out Naruto. One of the creatures let out a shriek as it crashed into the ground, but its cry was cut short when the roundhouse kick smashed into its exposed throat. After decapitating another enemy, the blonde spun around and swung his sword, flipping Tenyu into a reverse grip and quickly stabbing the first downed abomination to death. Sasuke, who was nearby, used his intense training to the fullest, slicing through their enemy's claws and blocking blows that he was unable to block. But the teen soon found himself struggling to find an opening as the Shadow Fiend's attacks were unrelenting. Come on, make a mistake. Move over here. One of the devils had exposed itself by overextending its attack. With a powerful lunge, the Uchiha struck his opponent deep in the chest with his kunai. It passed away right away. Sadly, Sasuke's victory was fleeting, for just as he was about to react, another monster leapt in from behind and swung its sharp claws, screeching loudly. Arg! His shirt was now smeared with bloody gashes from a blow to his shoulder. Sasuke faltered, his head spinning from the agony, but he quickly snapped out of it. He could not afford to appear vulnerable. He had paid a price in blood for his recklessness. Not any longer. Flaring fire shot from his lips as Sasuke burned his attacker's head to a crisp, then straightened up to see if any of his teammates needed his assistance. Kaden. Gokakyu no Jutsu, Fire Release, Great Fireball Technique. Perhaps Saku. Shanaru. Whack. The broken body of a devil suddenly flew past and vanished into the trees, causing Naruto and Sasuke to blink. With a start, both genin turned to face the source and saw their third teammate, her fist still extended, panting heavily. To their further surprise, the other devil's corpse was lying at her feet. The two boys concluded, I guess Kakashi's training really did help. Sakura stood tall and was covered in scratches, her temples slightly bleeding, but she was still alive. 7 to go, 6 down. Brother, Gozu muttered as he watched the three genin battle the devils they had still called to life. You know as well as I do that I won't make it back to the others. Don't you dare say that, Gozu. You just hold on. Surely ha. No, brother, exclaimed the dying shinobi. It's too late for me. But that doesn't mean we can't kill these brats before I go. You know what you must do. Stillness. And then. Your sacrifice will be remembered. And you will be with the Dark God. I know. Goodbye, brother. Goodbye, now do it. Maizu looked away, pressing his hand against his brother's head and channeling his chakra through the God of Destruction's mark. Abruptly, dark red kanji lines emerged, moving across Gozu's body in a manner that was obviously excruciating as the dying shinobi let out cries of agony. Maizu spoke after the man's body was completely covered in markings in a matter of seconds. Gisei no Kachio. URK. Maizu was about to complete his move when a figure from behind him materialized and thrust the tip of its kunai into his temple, knocking him out and ensuring he would wake up with one hell of a headache. Then, with a flick of the wrist, that same kunai was turned over and sent straight into the older brother's skull, ending Gozu's agony and killing him instantly. The figure said, well, that takes care of that. I'd better go help the kids. Almost everyone in the room was taken aback when the figure materialized in a blur of movement among the 4 surviving devils and then struck. Another second went by. Then, all 4 of the adversaries flopped over, lifeless. Everybody's eyes expanded. Who exactly is this? Good job, team. To the surprise of all, except Naruto, their enigmatic savior proved to be a fully functional and living Kakashi Hitaki. Sasuke and Sakura became perplexed as they turned to look for their sensei's supposed remains, but what they saw were ripped pieces of wood. A genjutsu in replacement, they both realized. It was clever because it let Kakashi to remain hidden and observe who the missing nins were aiming for. It also provided Team 7's genin with an opportunity to demonstrate their skills in actual combat. They're getting better. As he observed Sakura tending to Sasuke's wound and Naruto binding up their unconscious foe, Kakashi thought proudly of all of them. By far, Naruto performed the best, but that is to be expected given that he was already aware of the strategy and the obstacles we would face. Sasuke performed admirably as well, but I still need to work on his ability to fight multiple opponents and situation awareness. It's understandable that he is overly preoccupied with solo battle given the circumstances. After all, wouldn't you prioritize solo combat as well if your ultimate objective was to murder someone? The biggest surprise comes next. I wasn't sure how Sakura would respond in a real world combat scenario, even with the remedial training. Her apparent seriousness about the training is appreciated. I'm happy that they are all paying attention to their training, and most importantly, their teamwork is starting to really improve. When they had defeated their opponents, Naruto and Sasuke turned to Sakura to see if she needed assistance. Together, the 3 of them then defeated the other devils. Yes, his 3 young children were developing wonderfully. However, that was not the time to be considering that. No, this was the time to be seeking clarification. Kakashi turned a steely eye toward their client, who instantly turned pale and started to perspire. I've already sent a message to Konoha to pick these 2 up, but we have a bigger problem, he said. Tazuna-san, this was supposed to be a simple C rank mission. The most we should have faced are bandits or thieves, not trained shinobi. That makes this an upper B rank mission at the very least, and my team are nowhere near skilled enough to handle such a task. So, care to explain why 2 Chunin level missing nin would be targeting you, Tazuna-san? S. Surely why? You can't be I am implyin'. Kakashi angrily exclaimed, don't you dare lie to us. The seemingly carefree shinobi had vanished, and in its place stood a former Anbu captain who had destroyed entire cities and slaughtered hundreds of people. Naruto and I knew they were here 2 clicks back and planned this whole thing out to see who they were targeting. We know it was you they were after, so start talking or I will end this mission right now, Tazuna. San. Tazuna pleaded desperately, no. No, please don't. I'll tell you everything. The truth is that there's a super dangerous man after my life right now. Who? You've probably at least heard his name before, the wealthy shipping magnate, a man named Gato. The one. Eyed Shinobi exclaimed, Gato? In shock. You don't mean the Gato from Gato Company? I do. He's one of the wealthiest men in the world. His financial assets easily exceed the billions. The bridge builder, his fist shaking with rage and fear of their enemy, said, yes, that's him. Officially, he runs a large shipping company, but secretly, he sells drugs, weapons, and other illegal items using shinobi and gangs to take over businesses, towns, even countries. He's a terrible man. Last year, Gato set his eyes on my country and through money and violence, he quickly took over. He's already drained my country dry and has killed anyone who has tried to stand up against him. The only thing he fears now is the bridge I'm trying to build. Kakashi picked this up quickly. By completing the bridge, your country will be connected to the mainland and restore its economic stability. In addition, you could much more easily request military support, all of which would be against Gato's interest. Yes. Tazuna exclaimed, thrilled that Kakashi recognized his predicament and hoping that he would keep supporting him. Please. You must help me save my country. I beg of you. If not for me, then for all the people in Wave, including my grandson and daughter. We would have paid for a higher rank mission, but even our feudal lord is bankrupt and we just couldn't afford it. All I need is just 3 weeks. 3 weeks and the bridge will be finished. That's all. Even though the story was very touching, Kakashi had heard similar requests in the past and was unmoved. Above all, he would never endanger his students' lives. But it wasn't just his choice. He turned to face his children. Well, kids? What do you want to do? Understand that this mission is now easily A. Ranked as Gato will have undoubtedly hired much stronger shinobi to attack us. Kakashi could tell by Sakura's quick glance what Sakura thought of the situation. She wanted to go back because she was afraid. Sasuke's desire to go on was also evident. Naruto, though, had a more thoughtful expression. Nay, Kakashi. Sensei. How long would it take to get reinforcements? And there it was, exactly the response, or query, in this case, that Kakashi had been seeking. To continue working toward helping someone in need while simultaneously keeping his team's safety and well-being in mind. Actually, the elite Jonin had already decided to send a squad of Anbu to handle the situation or call in reinforcements from the Sandaime. If we keep moving toward Wave, they'll likely meet up with us in a day. 2 at most depending on who's available. Before making a choice, Naruto took a moment to consider that information in his mind. I say we continue, Kakashi. Sensei, but we should definitely call in reinforcements. We don't know how many missing Nin Gato hired, so it's better we play it safe. And besides, I'd never be able to live with myself if we just abandoned Tazuna and his country to Gato. We're shinobi of Konoha, after all. Kakashi asked, glancing at his fellow students, does everybody agree? With a look of fierce determination in his eyes, Sasuke said, I want to go. That should come as no surprise. The kunoichi within their group, however, was the real deal breaker. And what about you, Sakura? To be honest, the pinkhead was torn. She knew she would be safe in Konoha, so on the one hand, she wanted to return there. But on the other hand, she also knew she would not be able to live with herself if she just abandoned the client in the land of waves to Gato. Above all, Sasuke was eager to go. If she gave up now, it might ruin their chance at a true love in the future. Whoa, who did she think she was kidding? No choice was made. I think we should go, Kakashi. Sensei. These 3 are going to be legends, Kakashi pondered. That or they'll meet their demise. Hopefully it's the former, he said, turning to face Tazuna. Well, it looks like we'll be continuing the mission. Just give me a moment to send a message back to Konoha and then we'll continue. With tears in his eyes, Tazuna choked out, thank you. Thank you so much. For his land, there was still hope. For his family, there was still hope. Knowing exactly what was at risk, Tazuna and his escorts picked up the pace, arriving at the water's edge 3 hours ahead of schedule the following day. There, in a rowboat just large enough for their party, they discovered a man about the age of the bridge builder waiting for them. That did not, however, make any of them feel any less tense. Across the water, a dense mist was visible, and everyone, even the civilians, could feel the strong chakra it contained. Their foe was not far away. Tazuna nodded to the boatman and said, "Everyone hurry up and get in." Sakura exclaimed, "We're crossing on a rowboat?" With astonishment. That's the only way anyone can get to and from the land of waves. It's also how Gato took over so easily. But more importantly, I'm sure Gato has learned that the Demon Brothers failed by now. He will undoubtedly send others after us, and the quieter we are, the longer it will take for them to find us, Kakashi said with a quiet tone. I want all of you to stay on your toes and be ready for anything. The next enemy we face will almost definitely be Jonin level. Hi. With maximum silence, the group got into the boat and pushed off. And there was silence for some time. Calm even up until. Come to me. Naruto suddenly shook his head. His eyes glowed a little as he looked around in a hopeless attempt to find the source of the voice, his eyes wide with shock and surprise. Meigetsu. San? How about Rise, San? Have you heard that? Hear what? I did not hear anything. Naruto? The blonde turned to face his sensei, who was staring at the boy with worry. Kakashi asked in a whisper, is something wrong? Do you sense something? As if he had overlooked something using his own senses. He sensed no presences in the area. Still, he palmed a kunai silently just in case. I just heard a voice, but it was in my head. And no, it isn't her. Having already been informed that Naruto was speaking with the Kyuubi and that she was a woman, a revelation that had shocked him greatly, Kakashi nodded. Then what do you think it is? I'm not sure. And that worried them both. Once you get to the bridge builder's house, Rise and I will look at your memories of the voice. We might be able to figure who it is once we hear it for ourselves, Meigetsu said. Alright, I feel like my head is filling up already. I'm done using them. They were on wave territory in a matter of minutes, and by then, everybody was really tense. The killing intent that pervaded the air seemed even more oppressive, and the mist appeared to be much thicker now. For their group, it made one thing very clear. Someone was pursuing them. Leading the way, Kakashi yelled, "Diamond formation, kids." Only a powerful shinobi could make a mist this thick last so long. I can also smell high-grade carbon steel. Whoever this enemy is, he or she is likely a very skilled assassin to be able to hide from my senses. Hi, sensei. We're getting off the road too. It'll be harder to track us that way, but stay on your toe. Get down. Just as a huge sword whizzed past them and smashed into a nearby tree, embedding itself in the ground, everyone hit the ground. A moment later, a tall man without a shirt, dressed in cargo pants, arm warmers in the style of a camouflage, and bandages covering his lower face, materialized. He was standing on the broadsword's hilt, facing away from them. The one eye of Kakashi narrowed. Zabuza Momoichi. A. Class missing. Nin of Kirigakure no Sato. X. Member of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist and the Kirigakure no Kijin, demon of the hidden mist. A dark smile appeared on Zabuza's face, unseen. You were entirely correct, Kakashi Hitaki of the Sharingan, the swordsman shot back, fully facing them. I can see now why the Demon Brothers failed. Against you, they didn't stand a chance. With a hint of pride, Kakashi remarked, but my team won. I wasn't the one who beat them. Zabuza turned to face the trio of genin. He laughed, those 3? You're joking. Well, I suppose if they could beat the Demon Brothers, then they must have some talent. Too bad they'll be dead soon. The 3 genin felt a crushing wave of killing intent sweep over them, sending shivers of cold fear down their spines. Each of them could almost see how they would perish at the hands of the monster in front of them as it clawed at their minds, gripping it with tendrils of pure terror. Nevertheless, they remained standing there, guns blazing. They had an obligation to uphold, after all. Amazing, Zabuza added with a rough voice. To withstand so much killing intent at their age. They might be able to entertain me for at least a couple minutes once I've killed you, Kakashi. But first, my mission. Hand over the old man and I might let you and your kids live. I'm not planning on dying today, Zabuza. Sorry, Kakashi replied, reaching up to grasp his headband. He slowly lifted the headband, surprising Sakura, Naruto, and Sasuke most of all by revealing a red eye with 3 tomo encircling the pupil. Oh? To think I'd get to see the fabled Sharingan so soon. It's an honor. The Sharingan. Sasuke inhaled deeply. He gave his teacher a scowl. How? This isn't the right moment, Sasuke. I'll tell you later. Kakashi growled. All 3 of you, Manji formation. Protect the client and stay out of the way. I'll deal with Zabuza. The swordsman laughed, vanishing from his perch and resurfacing above the nearby water. We'll see about that, Kakashi. Zabuza had broken through a set of seals in the instant it had taken him to cover that distance, sending his chakra churning through the water. Sweden. Suishoha, water release, water colliding wave. Kaden. Karyu Enden, fire release, fire dragon flame missile. A gigantic wave that was probably big enough to swallow up everyone nearby erupted out of the sea, only to crash into a dragon. Worthy conflagration. The 2 elements engaged in combat, each trying to outdo the other in a whirling vortex of water and fire, and then they both erupted into a massive cloud of steam that quickly engulfed the area and obscured Zabuza. Something the former missed. Nin took advantage of without delay. Hey. Not bad, Kakashi of the Sharingan. But simply countering my attacks won't be enough to beat me. Now, let me show you in your snot. Nosed brats, the finest of the ninja arts. The Kirigakure no Jutsu, hiding in the mist technique. Suddenly, the mist around them grew so dense that it was impossible to see more than a few feet ahead. It was impossible for Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura to see their adversary, much less their own teacher. With so much chakra needed into it, not even Kakashi's Sharingan could pierce through. Damn, clever bastard. Even if I hadn't countered with fire, he knew there would be more than enough water on land after his technique to thicken the mist, Kakashi grumbled as he drew a, everyone, stay on your guard. Zabuza is a master of silent killing. With fear clearly visible in her voice, Sakura stammered, S. Silent killing? A killing technique specialized by the assassins of Kirigakure that's done in complete silence. True masters of the art are said to be able to kill their targets before the victim even realizes that they're already dead. What's worse is that this mist completely hides Zabuza from view and it limits my Sharingan's potential. So whatever you do, don't let your guard down. Hi. 8 points. Everyone tensed up. The spine, larynx, lungs, liver, jugular vein, collarbone, kidneys, and heart, 1 strike, and you're dead. So, tell me, which vulnerable spot should I choose? How do you want to die? The voice reverberated with malice, and the 3 genin, along with their completely terrified client, started to shake. Even Naruto, who had trained with Meigetsu to withstand the mental effects of killing intent, was starting to feel its icy tendrils seep into his mind and heart. It was the ungodly amount of killing intent and insatiable bloodlust. Of the 3 genin, Sakura was the one most impacted. W. What is this? Is this the true nature of true shinobi? Such a strong desire for blood. I feel like he's going to kill me if I even twitch. Sakura thought as icy tears streamed down her cheeks. Fear's talons were drawing near to her from all sides. I'm not sure how much longer I can stand this. The sensation that my life is in the hands of another person. I'd sooner commit suicide than put up with this emotion. The kunai approached her neck more closely. Sakura. The young lady froze. Calm down, Kakashi comforted, grinning at his young charges. Don't worry. I will protect the 3 of you with my life. I never let my comrades die. I wouldn't count on that, Zabuza shot back. But feel free to try, Kakashi. The Jonin scowled. He had tested the limits of his senses, but he was still unable to detect his opponent who was concealed in the mist. There was only one remaining choice. Sakura! Exclaimed the pinkette. Find him. Sakura's eyes widened as she realized right away what Kakashi was asking of her and that he was attempting to divert her attention from the prevailing bloodlust. Could she, though? Was she really capable of doing this? No, that's not how I think. As a Konoha Kunoichi, my teammates are depending on me. After thinking positively, the pinkette let out a precisely timed burst of chakra. Her heart started to slow down as she closed her eyes. Her chakra reappeared in less than a second, and she visualized the surroundings as a mental blue map. She sensed the presence of all those in her immediate vicinity, including the dark and fierce chakra of Sasuke, the surprising foreign chakra swirling around Kakashi's Sharingan, and the oddly calming and noble chakra of Naruto. Sakura, however, had to force herself to ignore them in order to find their enemy. She pushed and waited until she finally felt it. Strong as ever, easily matching Kakashi's. She then turned pale. Because she was now directly behind that shifting presence. Sakura suddenly opened her eyes. Behind us. With a curse, Sasuke and Naruto turned, swinging their respective weapons in midair. Click. Sakura's admonition and the boy's prompt action saved lives when Zabuza's powerful cleaver, the Kabikirabocho, decapitating carving knife, struck Naruto's holy sword in Sasuke's chakra. Enhanced Kunai. The enemy's blow was only slightly lessened, causing them to be flung back rather than sliced in two. However, their opponent was far from defeated, and Zabuza didn't even appear startled or fazed by the fact that his attack had partially failed. Raising his sword to take them all out, the swordsman challenged, "Impressive, brats. Let's see if you can do that again." Just then, Kakashi appeared out of the mist and stabbed the enemy in the stomach with his kunai, leaving a water stain on the ground. His gaze grew wide. Shit. Mizu Bushin. Correct. Before Kakashi could even blink, a huge blade sliced through the mist and split his body in half. The genin and their client watched in horror as the body parts fell, only for the screams to break through and turn into water. Zabuza's eyes got bigger. Water? You were able to copy me? In this mist? His response was a brace of shuriken, but the swordsman easily sidestepped them and dashed back into the haze, out of the group's line of sight. A few moments later, the air was filled with the sounds of metal hitting metal and flesh hitting flesh, but none of the genin could see the fight itself. Naruto snarled, tensing every muscle as he tried to see through the mist. Arg, I can't see anything. How are we supposed to protect the old man and help Kakashi? Sensei, if we can't even see our enemy? Sasuke inquired. Sakura? Can you sense them? They're about 15 meters to our 2 o'clock, but they're moving so fast that it's hard for me to keep track of them. Can you tell who's winning? Not really, I think Kakashi. Sensei might have the upper hand. Watch out. Suddenly, with a bloody cut on his right shoulder, Kakashi shot out of the mist. With a painful grunt, he skidded to a stop at his student's feet as he crashed into the earth. Kakashi. Sensei. The man moaned, clutching his wound as he stumbled back onto his feet. He's stronger than I thought, he said. Regretfully, Zabuza used the agony and the little time Kakashi had to gather his thoughts to come charging back out of the mist, his sword already raised to end his life. Shit. Game over, Kakashi. Zabuza exclaimed, laughing fiercely as he brought his sword to the ground. No. With lightning speed, Naruto appeared between his unprepared teacher and their adversary, raising Tenyu to deflect the approaching sword. Click. With the force of a locomotive, the Kabikirabocho struck the holy blade, instantly bringing Naruto to his knees as he struggled mightily to repel the enormous cleaver. The Jinchuriki felt his arms weakening and felt as though the entire world was pressing down on him. Sweat was streaming down his face. Luckily, he did not have to defend himself for very long because Kakashi, utterly surprised as he was, quickly exploited Zabuza's open mouthed shock by striking. Reikari, lightning edge. As Kakashi aimed the lethal blow directly at Zabuza's bare chest, vivid blue electricity flared around his hand, causing the former mist Nin to break free and duck. Sadly, he was not quite fast enough, and the blow was delivered at nearly point-blank range. The swordsman leapt back, glaring at his two opponents, and let out a pained curse as a large, bloody cut was carved out of his shoulder. Thanks for the save, Naruto, Kakashi remarked as he approached his pupil, who was squirming at his trembling arms but being careful to maintain his focus on their adversary. You've really grown in these past few months. Zabuza stood tall in spite of his injury and said, "It seems one of your little brats isn't just playing around. I'm going to enjoy killing you once I'm through with your teacher, brat. And I'll be sure to keep that sword of yours as a trophy." Naruto snarled, "You want my sword, you bastard? You'll have to pry it from my dead hands." "Don't worry. I was planning on doing that anyways." With a frown, Naruto started to scream back some expletives, but then he stopped. And gave a blink. Having gained a clear view of their adversary, the Jinchuriki observed something that eluded him previously. He doesn't have any eyebrows. Stillness. I'll kill you. Oh shit. Benakiri. Ryu. Kai no Uda, Crimson Mist style, Song of Blood. Saidoryu. Tenjiri, Holy Sword style, Celestial Slash. When two crescent waves of bloody red and golden white collided, a powerful shockwave that threw everyone off their feet and covered the battlefield in a dense cloud of dust was released. Unlike the previous time, though, Kakashi recovered more quickly and materialized in front of Zabuza with his kunai already swinging downward, only for the man to flee to the lake. Zabuza growled as he blurred through a set of seals, "Damn it, Kakashi. I need to teach that ungrateful little shit a lesson. Get out of my way." With his hands precisely in time with his opponent, Kakashi yelled back, "Not going to happen, Zabuza." Their finishing times were precisely the same. Sweden. Suiryuden no Jutsu, Water Release, Water Dragon Projectile. With a thunderous roar, massive twin water dragons emerged from the lake's depths and rushed toward one another. They engaged in a titanic struggle, with both sides vying for supremacy. But before either side could finally destroy the other, the two seasoned shinobi abruptly gave up their methods and met again in the crashing waves, engaging in a lethal dance of steel that left the genin speechless. Benakiri. Ryu. Kai no Uda, Crimson Mist style, Song of Blood. A further surge of red chakra hurtled across the water in Kakashi's direction, but he easily sidestepped it by performing a backward somersault. But Zabuza had not intended to hit his target. No, the X. Missed. Nin had enough time to pull off one more move in the nanosecond it had taken the silver haired Jonin to dodge. Mizu Bunshin no Jutsu, Water Clone Technique. Zabuza commanded, and a swirling column of water quickly rose from the lake and took on his form. The original continued to keep his opponent busy, but as soon as it had solidified, the clone shot across the water toward the three genin and their client. Almost before any of the three genin could respond, the clone launched its attack. Serious roundhouse kicks sent Sakura and Sasuke tumbling across the ground at the same moment that his sword and Naruto's collided, sending the boy skidding back. However, during that brief altercation, the Jinchuriki came to realize something very crucial. That copy is not as strong as the original. Much weaker. Text he had read a few months prior to the Mizuki incident suddenly jumped to the front of his consciousness. Yes, Mizu Bunshin is only 1/10 as powerful as the original. Which implies. It implied that they had a chance to defeat the clone together. Naruto yelled, crossing his fingers, "Sakura. Protect the old man and cover us. Sasuke. Let's take this bastard down." Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Technique. Suddenly, there were more than 50 copies of the blonde shinobi instead of just one. Ike, go. With a roar of approval, the small army charged their foe. Zabuza's clone, though, was unmoved. With a downward slash, the water clone instantly scattered two other clones as he leapt high into the air and crashed into the approaching army like a fiery meteor. Three of Naruto's clones raced forward to confront their adversary, but they were slain at the edge of Kabikirabocho by its wielder, who turned and easily split them all in half. "Come on, brat. I thought you were going to take me down?" It scoffed as it gave a clone a headbutt that caused its skull to crack. Subsequently, he took hold of the handle of his powerful cleaver with both hands, lifted it above his head, and unleashed a forceful swing that split the earth into small cracks. That razor sharp shock wave caused 5 shadow clones to vanish, and Zabuza's clone remained motionless. "Is that the best you can do?" Sasuke, now. Futon. Repusho, Wind Release, Gale Palm. Kaden. Gokakyu no Jutsu, Fire Release, Great Fireball Technique. The eyes of Zabuza's clone grew wide. With Naruto's army of shadow clones encircling him, he had nowhere to flee from the flaming fireball that had suddenly doubled in size. Well, shit. Whack. At least that was his plan until 6 shuriken buried themselves into his appendages. Zabuza's clone emerged from the roaring inferno, angry and covered in light burns, but still intact and more than ready to gut the little brats that did this to him. The water clone growled, pushing through the agony to charge Sasuke and Sakura. "Gia. Little brats. I'm going to fucking slaughter all of you." The people who'd thrown the damn weapons protruding from his arms and legs were the ones he would make sure to kill at the very least. Idoryu Ei. Shishi Sunsun. One sword style draw and resheath technique. Lion Song. Time stood still. The only thing Zabuza's clone could do was blink as he turned to face Naruto, who had managed to go past him in such a blur that he hadn't even noticed the boy move. And the sound of a lion's roar echoed throughout the area as he watched the Konoha Genin carefully sheathe his holy blade. Click here. Hurt. Just as Tenyu was fully sheathed, a moment of excruciating pain blossomed across the clone's chest before it burst. At that moment, the Jinchuriki went limp, finally succumbing to exhaustion after executing a very challenging move that left him gasping for air. I really need additional training. Naruto. Dobi. Naruto assured everyone, I'm fine, guys. Really, trying to hide his surprise at his teammates' worry. Sasuke appeared concerned as well, despite his best efforts to hide it. Just tired. I don't think I'll be able to fight anymore. Sakura looked at the blonde and said, You're not hurt anywhere, are you? She could not see any obvious wounds. No, just some bruises from earlier. We should go help Kakashi. Sensei though. It appears that he is nearing the end, Sasuke observed while keeping a watch on the fight. Yes, it appeared that Kakashi had gained the advantage in the fight. Now, Zabuza had one large gash across his stomach and two bloody stab wounds in his right shoulder, which effectively reduced his ability to wield his massive cleaver. Furthermore, Kakashi was demonstrating the full power of the Sharingan as he effortlessly mimicked all of the missing Nin's actions. Every kick, punch, butt scrape, and move was flawlessly imitated. It was extremely frustrating because it was like staring in a mirror and seeing your enemy copying you rather than yourself. Zabuza knew he would enjoy erasing Kakashi's arrogant expression. Sweden. Daibakufu no Jutsu, water release, great waterfall technique. Incredible. Zabuza's eyes grew wide. I intended to employ that method. He prepared himself for what would surely be a painful experience, thinking. That is, until he heard a voice he recognized speaking. Hyuden. Hyoga no Jasho, ice release, rising glacier. What the? Is that? But how? It's the middle of summer for crying out loud. Sakura, Tazuna, Sasuke, and Naruto could hardly believe what they saw. Somewhere their jaws had fallen to the floor. Because a glacier had appeared in front of them and shielded Zabuza from the enormous waterfall that had been rushing in his direction. No, really. A glacier, for crying out loud. It was just Kakashi who was unmoved. He was, after all, a highly skilled shinobi who had witnessed a great deal of unbelievable stuff. A glacier that appears out of nowhere in the middle of summer on an island? For him, that was just another Tuesday. It also made a very significant revelation. It did not surprise him that Zabuza was nowhere to be found when the glacier broke and the water receded. Zabuza had an accomplice nearby. One skilled in stealth. Sighing, Kakashi pulled his headband back over his Sharingan and leapt back onto land, winkling. TCH. Clever bastard. It would have to wait. The cut in his shoulder was starting to bother him a lot. He had to see how his children were first. Everyone alright? Sakura said, We're okay, Kakashi. Sensei, as her teammates gave her a nod of approval. Good. You all did well. Very well. I'm proud of you. Kakashi grinned broadly and his students grinned back. However, we can't linger here. Who knows if Zabuza's accomplice will come back? The silver-haired Jonin said, glancing at Tazuna, who had mostly remained silent throughout the battle out of shock. Tazuna-san, how much farther is your home? We all need to get some rest and training in before our enemies come back. The bridge builder stammered, It's this way, pointing to the southeast. Alright then, lead the way. They would require as much sleep as possible. Since Kakashi was aware that the mission's difficulties were just beginning. Zabuza whirled onto his companions, that damn brat, I'll fucking kill him. I'll eviscerate him. How dare he insult my beautiful eyebrows? My eyebrows are perfect, right? I am damn fucking handsome. Thankfully, Zabuza didn't wait for an answer before continuing his tirade and pacing around their hideout, so no one had to respond. How long has he been at this? 2.5 hours. Huh. That's longer than usual. After what happened in the battle, I'm sure he'll be at it for at least another hour. Well, you might as well relax a bit, Haku. Chan. You know you won't be able to treat him until he calms down. As soon as the now identified second speaker saw Zabuza angrily swing his arms around, he had to agree. She sighed, took a seat elegantly, and took off her mask to reveal gorgeous features like pale skin, long black hair pulled back into a bun, and chocolate brown eyes. Despite her youth, the girl exuded a refined air befitting a priestess or upper noble, with her cool expression and surprisingly voluptuous figure set against an elegant pale blue kimono. But like a drunken sailor on a shipwreck, her serene expression gave way to one of disgust as she watched and listened to her master's curse. If he keeps this up for much longer, it'll take 2 weeks for his arm to heal. Maybe more. Haku. Chan, just give it up, said the first person to speak. You know how he is when he gets like this. Can't you try talking to him, Shizuki? Maybe he'll listen to you. PSH, yeah right. The only ones Zabuza Sama listens to is Ryoshi, Amy, and you, the man said with disdain. The 15-year old shinobi, with his dark blue hair, pale complexion, and purple eyes, was an interesting sight to behold at just 5 feet tall. In addition, he wore a scratched forehead protector around his neck, and he had an unsightly scar on his left cheek. He can be such a baby sometimes. Don't talk about Zabuza Sama like that. With maturity, Shizuki made a jab at the girl. You're not the boss of me, Haku. Chan. I'll say whatever the hell I want. Haku furrowed his brow. At least I'm not a short-tempered midget. The all-too common jab at his height made the man stiffen. Oh, real original. Short jokes. Why don't you and everyone else try coming up with something new, bitch? The eye of the ice maiden twitched. It was growing noticeably colder in the room. What did you just call me? Let it never be forgotten that the former Chunin of Kirigakure, Shizuki Hazuka, was not renowned for his intelligence. I called you a bit. Ack. Who wants a shinobi popsicle? A stunning young woman with dazzling green eyes and unusually vibrant yellow hair with dark red tips, a feature that indicated the kunoichi as a wielder of the phoenix spirit bloodline, entered and said, Haku. Chan. I found Kira. Chan and Ryoshi. Kun. They were with Kagome Ni-chan practicing their kenjutsu. She had a bright smile on her face that vanished when she saw Shizuki frozen in a block of ice and Zabuza still furiously ranting about his eyebrows. Her dark red kimono was a striking contrast to the Ice Maiden's attire. What happened? Haku sighed and then extended his arm, sending 3 senbon into different pressure points on Zabuza's body, instantly knocking him out so she could finally start treating him. It was actually her fault for doing that in the first place. Shizuki. Baka was just being an ass as usual. And as for Zabuza Sama, our mission proved to be more difficult than we originally thought. Ami's gaze expanded. Wait, are you saying that Zabuza Sama was beaten? You're kidding. I wish I was. But who? Kakashi Hitaki. Shit. Konoha's copy. Nin, huh? No wonder Zabuza Sama lost. They were pretty evenly matched in the beginning, but Kakashi's genin team was able to help him enough to give him the edge. A bunch of genin? Really? What happened? One of them, a blonde boy with a golden sword, blocked Zabuza Sama's attack, giving Kakashi the opportunity to attack at point blank. Zabuza Sama was able to dodge it somewhat, but the attack severed some of his arm muscles, reducing his ability to use the Kabikirabocho. And Zabuza Sama's best skill is his kenjutsu, so he was at an immediate disadvantage, Amy said. Still, I can't believe a mere genin was able to stop the Kabikirabocho. Even I can't do that. There's more, Haku said, remembering every detail of the fight. He was also able to match Zabuza Sama's Kai no Uda, Song of Blood, with his own sword technique. No way. True, the 7 ninja swordsman's infamous Benakiri. Ryu, Crimson Mist style was thought to have the weakest technique, the Kai no Uda, Song of Blood, but still. It was amazing to consider that a child could equal its power. What do we do now? We can't just back out of this mission. We need the money. The Ice Maiden sighed, I know. But we're at a major disadvantage now. Kakashi. San wasn't as badly injured and I'm sure he'll be calling in reinforcements soon, assuming he hasn't already. Damn. This just keeps getting better, we never should have taken this mission. Well, you know how Zabuza Sama is. His pride won't let him leave until he completes it. True. Do you know when the others will be back? We should update them on what happened. I'm not sure, the wielder of Phoenix Spirit answered. Kagome. Nichan had only just started her third kata and I think Ryoshi Kun is teaching Kira Chan a new technique, so they might not be back until later tonight. Can you go get them? We need to start planning if we're going to succeed. You got it, Haku. Chan, Amy gestured. But as she was about to leave, she hesitated and took a quick look back inside. A red flame erupted over her hand. As much as I don't want to, we should probably unfreeze him. Fushicho Ogi, Senko Kan, Phoenix Secret Art, Scarlet Blaze. To the cruel amusement of Haku and Amy, the brilliant fire engulfed the frozen shinobi, instantly melting the ice and successfully freeing him while also burning his ass. EYHHHHH. Hot, hot, hot. What the fuck? WHO unfreezes someone by setting them on fire? What the hell is wrong with you bitches? What did call us? Sensatsu Suisho, 1,000 flying water needles of death. I'll kill you. Fushicho Ogi, Senko Kan, Phoenix Secret Art, Scarlet Blaze. Again, I say it. Shizuki Hazuka is a fool. Tsunami, Tazuna's daughter and Inari's mother, was seen quietly descending the stairs in the early morning, her heart feeling lighter than it had in years. It was late last night when her father and his shinobi escorts had miraculously survived, despite being tired and wounded. When Tsunami saw her father, she almost burst into tears of relief. She hurried them all into bed, promising to prepare a delectable feast for them in the morning. Well, what ought I make? Is it better to cook a simple breakfast or try something fancier? Well, that makes sense. I could always prepare one of my specialties. Few knew this now, but before Gato appeared, Tsunami had been a master chef. I'm sure we have the ingredients. Even the country's nobles had enjoyed and consumed her cuisine. She had every intention of becoming the executive chef of the daimyo's court, but Gato's arrival dashed her hopes, at least for the time being. Hopefully, her dream could come true once more with the completion of the bridge and the Konoha shinobi's protection. Dink. SHCK, SHCK, SHCK. Tsunami gave a blink. It sounds like the beating of eggs. Who in the world would? Wait, her gaze grew narrow. Is there someone in my kitchen? Her pupil quivered. Not a single person entered Tsunami's kitchen, I promise. It was like dancing with death and stepping on its shoes to enter her kitchen. It must be a shinobi. Most likely the tall one. Again, what was his name? Kaji? Katashi? Kakashi. And that's it. Hitaki Kakashi. A positively malevolent grin appeared on her mouth. I'll just have to remind you of the rules, Hitaki. San, in the most agonizing way imaginable. The black-haired woman walked into her domain with a stiff back, mouth hanging open to scold the elite Jonin for daring to enter her kitchen, only to be stopped short by what she saw. Naruto. Kun? The young blonde set down the bowl of whisked eggs and looked up, a big smile on his face. Good morning, Tsunami. San. What are you doing here? Oh. I'm making my team and your family breakfast. I hope you don't mind, but it's the least I can do since you're letting us stay here. Naturally, I'm fine with that. You short ass should leave my kitchen. Although Tsunami expressed it verbally, I didn't know you can cook, she was mentally screaming. Hi. I started learning just a few months ago, and while I know I'm not great, I like to think I'm alright at it. Okay? The young chef was just okay, right? And he was so bold as to use her kitchen? Not good enough. Not to be forgiven. Reprehensible. Hold on. That aroma. Is that basil? And the thyme? And her eyes got bigger. Her extremely perceptive nose was picking up on a dozen different spices and herbs, many of which she was not even aware were available at the local store, expertly blended and marinating into some kind of oven. Roasted meat. Her mouth was practically drooling and her stomach was growling due to the delicious scent it was producing. She glared at her stomach and grimaced mentally. Traitor. She asked, Nay, Naruto. Kun. What exactly are you making? With a charming smile. Rabbit stew. That clarified the subtle hint of gaminess mingled with the other spices. Where did you get the rabbits? The store doesn't. Oh, I had morning watch, so while I was out patrolling, I caught a few. And the herbs? Same story. Saw some of them while I was out. The rest I brought with me. There's some extra in the fridge. Alright, that made sense. At least the young shinobi was considerate enough to leave a small token of appreciation for using her kitchen. However, Tsunami had one more question still. If you're making stew, then why are you beating eggs? The Jinchuriki responded, finally chopping up several onions. Oh. I was experimenting a few weeks ago and discovered that if you season the eggs with dried tomatoes, black pepper, basil, fennel, and cooked onions, adding it to the stew just before it's done cooking really deepens the flavor. When Tsunami looked more closely, she noticed that Naruto had also skillfully prepared a number of other ingredients. This boy is not your typical chef, Tsunami said, despite her reluctance to acknowledge it. Naruto was working quickly and precisely by himself, taking on the responsibilities of 3 cooks. The boy finished preparing the last of his ingredients in a matter of minutes and proceeded towards the oven. He whispered, the meat should be almost done right about now, and opened the oven door. Woo! A tremendous waft of delectable aromas filled the kitchen before she could even prepare herself. Her whole body trembled. Her cheeks turned red. The smells were overwhelming Tsunami, and they became even stronger after Naruto placed the roasted rabbit on the kitchen counter. It appeared flawless. Look at that perfectly cooked meat. It looked so good. In the early morning light, it shimmers and smells so good. Her eyes grew brighter. I have to taste it. With a hopeful smile, Naruto turned to face his host, seemingly reading her thoughts. Nay, Tsunami. San, would you like to taste my dish? It's pretty good right now, especially if you dip the meat into the drippings. Indeed. Though it's unlikely that she would express it aloud, her thoughts screamed. Conversely, the hair. Flipped Closet Tsunere said, S. Sure. I'll give it a bite. She took the chopsticks that were offered and poked at the meat first. Her chopsticks had a very satisfying crunch as they bounced back. It's crispy, but it's tender, she said, her mouth watering even more. Pulling herself together, she pierced the rabbit with her chopsticks, ripped off a chunk of flesh, and dipped it into the sauce that was collecting in the pan. Next, it was given a taste. Oh. It resembled getting struck by lightning. She almost arched her back in ecstasy at the incredible deliciousness of that one bite, flavors coursing through her. What the heck is this? It tastes so very good. His use of lemongrass, basil, fennel, thyme, and sesame oil highlights the natural flavor of the meat, giving it a richer flavor that just melts in my tongue. Juices are streaming out of that one bite alone. However, how? Her eyes grew wide. It's almost as if. But wait, this subtle flavor. Though it's subtle, this is the only reason this meat could be so tender. Very tasty, indeed. I think that's it, but. She spun to face Naruto. Where did you get honey? Naruto grinned. He held up the bottle of honey and said, wow, you can taste that? I only used a little too. I actually brought the honey with me. I know the land of waves can't get it without importing it, but it's really abundant in Konoha and Kakashi. Sensei has me in charge of cooking when we're out on missions. So I always make sure to bring that and other basic ingredients wherever I go. I understand. He was able to bring out the best flavors without overpowering the dish with the honey's flavor by kneading a little in before marinating the meat because honey contains protease, which naturally breaks down proteins. Additionally, he rubbed sesame oil on it before broiling it to seal in all the juices and crisp the skin. The rabbit tastes even better with that combination enhancing its flavors. Tsunami took another bite and experienced a shockwave through her body again. This is amazing, I must say. It's amazing to consider that even though this dish isn't finished, a teenager could make it. I'm starting to feel lightheaded. Her body trembled and arched with each bite of that delectable roasted rabbit until she lost all patience. She finally collapsed, panting heavily, against the kitchen counter. Her blushing face was shadowed by her hair as she struggled to gather herself. So, Tsunami. San? What do you think? Is it good? The cheerful blonde chef inquired, somehow totally unaware of his host's condition. Nay, Naruto. Kun. Is this the best dish you can make? Abruptly, the young shinobi shuddered. Something about Tsunami's voice had changed recently, though he wasn't sure what it was. There was an undercurrent of something hazardous. She had an aura around her that felt competitive for some reason, and Naruto couldn't even see her face at this moment. Fatal. He swallowed. Number. I have a few other recipes that I think are better. I'm actually working on improving them. Tsunami's once glittering eyes suddenly burst into a raging flame. Naruto squawked in shock as she shot up and grabbed the young cook by the collar. Excellent. You and I are having a cooking contest. Naruto gave a blink. A what? You heard me, Naruto. Kun. A cooking contest. We're having a battle. But why? I don't want to fight you. She glared at the blonde shinobi, her aura suddenly filled with killing intent instead of competition. Why? She growled. Is it because I'm a woman? What? Squeaks Naruto. No. Of course not. But my job right now is to protect your family. Not participate in a cooking contest. Tsunami slightly lost air. As much as she wanted to argue otherwise, the shinobi had a point. Then how about after the mission? Will you have a cooking contest then? Well, I suppose. Then it's decided. But why do you even want to have a cooking contest with me? I'm just a kid. Because despite that fact, this dish is fantastic. Naruto. Kun, understand this, I am considered one of the best chefs in all of the Land of Waves. Before that sleazy bastard came, my food was eaten by this country's nobles and royalty. I also beat anyone who dared to challenge me to a cooking contest. My skills are without a doubt considered top notched in the Land of Waves, and I was starting to think, with everything that has happened lately, that I would never get to see my skills improve in another contest. But why do you have to compete to improve? Can't you just train on your own? Tsunami roared, of course not. It is only through the fires of competition can we polish ourselves into shining gems. By seeing new techniques, learning your weaknesses, and honing your skills against a worthy opponent. Isn't it the same for you, Shinobi? Don't you and your teammates regularly fight each other to improve? Naruto's gaze expanded. Do you understand now, Naruto? Kun? I must have a cooking contest with you, not only to protect my title as the best chef in the Land of Waves, but to test my own skills against a worthwhile opponent. So what say you? Naruto blinked, trying to take it all in, his mouth flapping pointlessly. What had become of the kind woman he'd met the day before? Where had this beast of competition come from? And why was he becoming agitated? Tsunami grinned ferociously out of nowhere. Yes, I can see it in your eyes. You want to fight. You want this. Now the competitive fire was blazing brightly inside of him. You're on, Tsunami. San. After the mission, you and I will have a cooking contest. No, Naruto. Kun. What we'll have is a food war. After that rather strange morning incident, Naruto was outside in a nearby clearing going through his notes on the different techniques he had developed with Megetsu. He had already created several elemental techniques, but none involving the use of ice. After witnessing a freaking glacier appear out of nowhere yesterday, Naruto's curiosity was sparked, and he's been attempting to develop an ice using technique every free moment since. It was his great fortune to have both the elements required to create the element and the assistance of two ancient beings residing in his mind. Just as he was about to make a breakthrough, his sensei appeared out of nowhere in the clearing with his usual book of smut in hand. The man saw his blonde student and smiled. Yo. Looking up from his notes, Naruto said, Morning, Kakashi. Sensei. What are you doing here? Ma, I was just wondering where my wayward student had gone off to. Sakura. Chan said you went out, but she didn't know where. Naruto could still clearly understand the reprimand even though it hadn't been stated that way. Given that the enemy was still present, failing to alert his team to his intended destination could have had dire repercussions for both him and his unit. Sorry. Naruto, it's okay. Kakashi waved away the entire situation. Just don't forget next time. Hi. The older man asked, looking curiously over his student's shoulder to see the scroll he was working on. Anyways, what are you doing out here? His eyes widened as he saw the incredibly detailed notes scattered across the paper, complete with technical jargon. What the? Naruto, are you making a ninjutsu technique? Hi, a Hayate ninjutsu. Kakashi's one and only eye expanded to fill a dinner plate. Ice? Yup. I'm almost done too. But, you saw that Hayate ninjutsu just yesterday. Are you telling me you were able to create a new technique in just 8 hours? Yeah, why? Observing his student's sincere bewilderment, Kakashi decided it would be better to pose another crucial query rather than continue harping on the fact that it takes the majority of shinobi years to develop a novel technique. How are you going to make the Hayate ninjutsu work? You don't have the bloodline for it. That ought not to matter, Naruto answered. Based off what Megetsu-san has told me, having a bloodline just makes fusing the different elemental chakras easier. It's still possible though for those without it. You just need really strong affinities for the two fusing elements. Kakashi gave a blink. That was unknown to him. In fact, the more unusual elemental releases were thought to be performed only by those with a bloodline affinity for them, a belief that was widely held throughout the elemental nations. If his pupil's claims are accurate, there would be far-reaching options and possible outcomes. Naturally, everything hinged on Naruto's ability to make his method effective. Well, what will this technique of yours do? I'm hoping to make wolves of ice. Wolves of ice? Why? Lots of reasons. For one, I want a technique that'll give me strength of numbers and durability. You proved to me during the bell test just how easy the cage bunshin can be destroyed, so I need something better than that. Something that can survive a lucky or glancing shot. I already tried improving the cage bunshin, but it didn't really work out. So instead, I'm trying this. Wolves are naturally intimidating predators, which will give me a psychological edge against anyone I fight, and they're fast, strong, and dangerous. By making them out of ice, they'll also be more durable. Plus, the Naruto's face lit up. Wouldn't it look so badass if people saw me with ice wolves? That last bit made Kakashi smile, couldn't help it. Though it was sometimes difficult to see the younger shinobi as anything more than a fellow soldier, it was moments like these, when their innocence comes through, that brought him back to remember them. Anyways, I'm just about to start testing this technique out. Hopefully, it'll work. Ma, would you mind if I stayed and watch? And his response was a dazzling smile. The boy called out his new technique after flashing through a series of carefully chosen hand seals, saying, "Sure, sensei." Hayaten. Hakyoku Okami, Ice Release, Arctic Wolf. The air was cooling quickly, and the mist that was hanging in the air started to condense. A tiny piece of ice started to form and grew slowly. It grew larger and larger as the air's moisture was literally drawn out and frozen to feed the process. The technique was finally stopped, exactly 1 minute later, and the outcome was, to put it mildly, astounding. Standing on all 4 feet, the nearly translucent ice wolf towered several inches above the Jinchuriki. It snarled and growled in its spot, showing off razor-sharp teeth that could easily tear through flesh. Its eyes glowed a menacing yellow. Nevertheless, in spite of its display of force, the ice wolf stayed by Naruto's side, guarding him devotedly, as though to assure everyone that nothing would separate it from its maker. Perfect. Unknowingly holding his breath, Kakashi released it. It had been incredible to watch the ice wolf materialize out of thin air. He leaned in closer, examining his student's creation critically, saying, "That was impressive, Naruto. How much chakra did that take?" About 3, maybe 4 repusho's worth. Oh. That was not what he had anticipated. Particularly in light of Naruto's incredible chakra control. It looks good so far, though we'll have to test its durability and abilities. You should also try improving the formation speed. A minute will easily get you killed several times over. Yeah, I know, Naruto replied while examining his method. I wasn't expecting it to take that long. I'll refine the technique later. Do you think it would form faster if there was already a source of water to use? It's possible. You might also want to try working on your chakra control and see if that helps. With excitement, Naruto exclaimed, "Well, we'll have to test that out later. For now, let's see how strong it is." The boy looked at his ice creation and gave the command, "Attack," while gesturing to a nearby log. The ice wolf crept up on the fallen log, growling low and barking fiercely as it dove across the distance and slashed its claws deep into the wood before biting down hard. Haha, oh. Holy shit. The log had been completely bitten through, even though it had been a good foot thick. Kakashi gave a blink. Only his strongest summon could bite through a log that thick, though his ninkin were more trackers than fighters. That is one dangerous wolf you have there. He shook his head and turned to face his pupil again. Alright, Naruto, why don't you step back and I'll test its durability. Hi. Stepping aside, Naruto gave a swift command to his creation to remain where he was and not to attack his teacher. Kakashi then casually threw a single kunai at the ice wolf. It hardly scraped the wolf's frozen hide. Alright, that's already superior to a cage bunshin, Kakashi said. Again, just a scratch, if slightly deeper, let's see what happens when I throw the kunai at Chunin level. Impressive. What about Jonin level strength, then? The kunai flew much faster this time than Naruto could keep up with it. It was in his teacher's hand one moment and buried deep inside the wolf the next, causing cracks along its icy form. The second Naruto gave it the order to move, and although it didn't collapse right away, the cracks widened and the wolf broke into big shards of ice. You know, I was half expecting the kunai to bounce off like all the other times, Kakashi said. Still, you should be proud, Naruto. Your ice wolf is remarkably strong and could be classified as a mid-B rank technique at least. Higher if you can improve the formation speed or find a way to summon multiple wolves at the same time. His pupil smiled. Now, why don't you make 5 more ice wolves and I'll test their resistance to ninjutsu. Yosh. A short while later. Futon. Repusho, Wind Release, Gale Palm. Kaiten. Gokakyu no Jutsu, Fire Release, Great Fireball Technique. Suiden. Suiden no Jutsu, Water Release, Water Bullet Technique. Doden. Doryuso, Earth Release, Earth Flow Spears. Raiden. Shirai, Lightning Release, Lightning Strike. Whack. Huh, I wasn't expecting that. That is awesome. When Kakashi unleashed the wave of elemental death to charge Naruto's wolves, it completely destroyed the surrounding area, but the outcome left both shinobi in complete shock. For one thing, the unexpected happened. It was neither earth nor fire. Both had completely destroyed their intended targets. It was not wind, which did no harm at all, or water, which had only partially melted the ice. No, it was the lightning that had taken the 2 shinobi by surprise. The wolf of ice swallowed it. If the crackling bolts of electricity running across the ice wolf's body were any indication, it absorbed the lightning and used the power to enhance its own power. Don't ask them how, because neither Kakashi nor Naruto had the slightest idea at the moment. This was soon to be confirmed as true when, just a few seconds later, the wolf tore clean through a 3-foot thick tree trunk with its claws. It could have just as easily been paper. Incredibly unbelievable. Hey, Naruto? Yeah? You can make some pretty scary techniques. I'm starting to see that too. I actually have 2 more I'm working on too. Think you could make me one? Sure, Kakashi. Sensei. You should also make some ninjutsu for Sasuke and Sakura. I have some already. I just need to know what their elemental affinities are. We can do that once we get back. Okay. Good. Hungry? A bit. Me too. There's rabbit stew back at the house. I made it. Sounds good. Let's go. Alright, kids, Kakashi said, his one visible eye showing signs of seriousness. He had left his ninkin to watch over their client and Tezuna's family, taking his team back into the forests that surrounded Tezuna's home for some much needed training. As you all know, Zabuza is still alive and he's out there. We also know he has at least one accomplice, though I'm willing to bet there are more. Based off the injuries I gave him, I'm hopeful that he'll be out of commission for at least a week. More if we're lucky, though I doubt it. Our reinforcements will arrive sometime tomorrow, but there's no telling how many mercenaries Gato hired, so we're going to train as much as we can to prepare. Hi. Then Kakashi turned to face Sakura and Sasuke and said, good. Now then. Both of the teens' expressions turned surprised when they heard, as it turns out, Naruto here is something of a prodigy when it comes to creating new ninjutsu. Before he can start working on yours, we need to know what your elemental affinities are. Luckily, I happen to have a couple affinity cards with me. He gave them all a piece of paper. Just channel your chakra into it. The two genin exchanged a quick glance before following their instructor's instructions with a shrug. The outcomes were unexpected and came right away. It was normal enough for Sasuke, at least by Team 7's standards. His paper had become wrinkled and ignited, a sign of affinities for fire and lightning. Quite remarkable for a shinobi, particularly one this young. Sakura felt her paper start to fall apart in the middle. But that wasn't all. Each corner of the paper was displaying a completely different image in addition to the crumbling. Even though Kakashi was still in his mid-20s, it was something he had never seen before and it almost gave him a heart attack. The bottom left corner split, the bottom right corner wrinkled, and the top right corner started to burn. The top left corner started to dampen. Not to mention that the center had crumbled away and turned to dirt. Earth, wind, lightning, water, and fire. A connection to each component. Meigetsu. San, what? Triveli. San? Is that typical? No, it's not, the astonished demon lord remarked. Do you have any ideas as to how, Raisei? Chan? It must be the will of Kami. Sama. And there is no point in questioning how. All we can do is help her develop her unique powers to its full potential. So, basically, you have no clue either. Shut up. Still struggling to clear his head after seeing what he had previously believed to be impossible, Kakashi thought, I really need to start expecting the impossible from these kids. And when I return, I will undoubtedly need to speak with Hokage. Sama. How? How is it possible for a fangirl to connect with every element? Sasuke gripped his mind. I require that authority. Why am I not endowed with that power while she is? Sakura looked at her paper and said, is that normal, Kakashi? Sensei? Kakashi grinned and said, no, it's not. But you should be happy, Sakura. Chan. You are the first person I've ever met with an affinity for every element. It means that no technique is out of your reach, so long as you put in the training for it. Wow. Anyways, Naruto. The boy raised his head. Is there anything else you need before you start making their jutsu? Nope. I'm good. I'll get started later tonight. Kakashi turned to face his other two students and said, sounds good. Now, pop quiz. What is chakra? Sakura responded to the question, Anyo, chakra is the combination of physical and spiritual energy and the essence of all life on earth. All shinobi use chakra for techniques and control it with hand seals. If we use up all of our chakra, we'll die, despite her surprise at this abrupt change in topic. The genin all nodded, though Naruto, somewhat predictably to the jonin, seemed to already know this information. Right. Now, before any of you can learn a new technique, you must first be able to control your chakra. After all, what use is ninjutsu or genjutsu if you waste all your chakra trying to use them simply because you lack control? So, to help you gain better control, today, we'll be climbing trees. Nay, Kakashi. Sensei. I already know how to do this. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised after seeing that technique of yours earlier. Why don't you demonstrate the technique to your teammates then? Shortly after, their blonde teammate walked up the side of a tree and ended up hanging upside down on one of the tree branches, effectively saying, screw you, to gravity, leaving Sasuke and Sakura scraping their jaws off the ground. As you can see, the technique works by sending a constant flow of chakra through your feet to create an adhesive effect. Too little chakra, and you won't stick. Too much, and you'll be blasted off. I want you both to try reaching the highest branch on these trees here. You can mark your progress with your kunai. Now get it, Kakashi said, waving his hands towards the nearby trees. Then he looked up at Naruto. Since you already know this technique, you're free to train in whatever you like, Naruto. Just don't wander off too far. Hi, sensei. Naruto moved on to a different clearing a few miles away and pulled out his notes on his most recent method in the hopes of cutting down on the formation time. Regretfully, a recognizable voice interrupted him in less than a minute. Come. Oh no, that voice is back. I should probably just ignore it. Come to me. Just brush it off. Claim my power for your own. Ignore it. All your desires shall be fulfilled. Ultimate power will be yours. Just keep ignoring it. Nothing is being heard. Please come. Where was I, now? Yes, I was attempting to find a way to reduce the amount of time it took to create my new technique. Thus, the ice is formed and given shape by the seals, snake, and dog. Hey. What a brat. Are you able to hear me? Maybe I could expedite the process by including the rat, rabbit, and additional dog seal? Hey. But then, how would I? Dumbass, earth to you, can you hear me? Stupid? Who are you calling a stupid person, bastard? Hey. You could hear me, I knew. You fucking idiot, come over here and claim me with your stupid ass. Naruto. Kun, huh? Sorry about that, Meigetsu. San. That voice is calling me again. And it's acting weird, Naruto said, quickly facepalming after realizing he had forgotten that neither Meigetsu nor Raisei could hear the voice. Ah. That certainly cleared up a lot of questions. She and Raisei had begun to fear that their ship had capsized. Actually, we checked your memories and Raisei's, and I believe that the voice calling to you is the conscious of Mugetsu, the Sword of the Void, she said. Wait, are you telling me that there's a divine weapon out there, calling for me? Naruto asked, his eyes widening. Yes. You should go get it now. But why is it requesting that I come? Since you possess a celestial chakra. Divine weapons are only usable by those possessing that level of power. Naruto scowled, thinking he already had enough voices in his head. Did he really want to add another, especially one that seemed to have a serious attitude problem? His more innocent side thought the idea of using another divine weapon was fantastic. Raisei interjected after hearing Naruto's reasoning, saying, it would be best to claim Mugetsu, Naruto. Kun. It's better that you have it than that it ends up in the wrong hands. With a sigh, Naruto said, well, I guess you're right. At least with this, I won't have to look for another sword for the Nitoryu style. With that, the genin made a clone to guide Kakashi before he set out to follow the voice, much to the delight of Mugetsu's spirit. At last. How bored have I been, do you have any idea? And Tenyu is also with you. Yes, sweetie? What's up with Mugetsu's consciousness, Raisei? Naruto froze, horny? Kukio has always been a perverted bastard, Raisei complained. He knows I'm here, and he's had a thing for me ever since we were created. You don't seem very excited about him. Do you think we should take the sword? A pause occurred before someone said, yes. Mei. Chan and I will keep him in check. Meigetsu interjected with almost too much enthusiasm, absolutely, and with excessive violence if necessary. It's the sole method for dealing with perverts. Bear that in mind, Naruto. Kun. Kami. Sama, that's creepy looking, Naruto thought to himself, his heart palpitating at that comment and wondering how he was supposed to react to something like that. Luckily, he didn't have to, because he was on his way to his destination, a cave. All he could see inside was endless darkness, and he couldn't help but feel that if he went inside, there was a chance he would never come out, lost forever amid the void. He swallowed. You're fine, Naruto. Kun. Follow the path of your celestial chakra to reach Mugetsu. If you say so, Raisei. San. Naruto flared his chakra and felt a pull immediately in front of him. Taking a deep breath, he cautiously stepped into the darkness and followed the pull. The genin walked for a long time without knowing how far or how deep he had gone, or even how long. Time seemed to have no meaning in this cavern, and it didn't seem long before he reached his destination. A katana, about the length of Tenyu, was floating before him on a stone pedestal. It was grayish. Black in color, with dark blue runes that glowed like the night sky and a serrated base. The pommel was made of pitch. Black opal, and the handguard was a simple rectangular piece. Despite the sinister and depraved spirit it contained, the blade was beautiful overall. All right, I've arrived. Kokio, can you hear me? At last. I was beginning to fear that you would never arrive. The spirit replied, you brought Tenyu, too. Oh, Rei. Chan, my fair lady. Too much time has passed since I last saw your fantastically attractive body. Raisei complained, not long enough in my book, as her eye began to twitch. Rei. Chan, you're so mean. But if you show me your boobies, I can make the pain go away. Pervert. Was it strange that one sword appeared to be eyeing another and attempting to make it strip? Yes, it definitely is. You haven't changed at all, Kukio. Is that you, Mei? Chan? Come hug me in my undies. Meigetsu deadpanned, I'd rather take an acid bath. Can you just start the test? However. Start the test, I said. A test? There would be a test, of course. Naruto sighed as he turned to face the black blade floating in midair and asked, Kukio, can we just get this over with already? It is imperative that I return to my team as soon as feasible. Brat, can't you see that I'm attempting to break my dry spell? Centuries have passed. Dad needs to find love. Please let me go, Mei. Chan and Rei. Chan. Meigetsu remarked, he does already have both of us. Kokio was astounded. Kukio spluttered in shock at this unexpected turn, but Raisei ignored it, saying, I'm sure our combined strength will be more than sufficient for whatever Kami Sama believes is in store for us. You're right, Mei. Chan. He is not necessary for us. But. Exactly. In any case, what possible good could a depraved spirit and his sword do for us? Absolutely nothing. That's it, all right. Is someone rejecting me? That's okay with me. I would prefer not to accept not getting laid for several centuries, but if necessary, I can. But undermining the void's power? Not good enough. Brat, it's on. Naruto could feel the spirit's enraged gaze on him. Naruto found himself suddenly standing in his mindscape, with Raisei and Meigetsu to his left, both of them sitting on a large rock, their faces full of smug satisfaction and wide smiles, as if they had planned this, judging by the shared bag of popcorn they were munching on. And standing opposite him, a dark glower on his face, was Kukio, tall, easily matching Kakashi's height, with dark purple eyes, long, shaggy black hair, and light bluish gray bandages encircling his neck and lower half of his face. The spirit's torso was bare, revealing lean muscles tattooed with several thick black lines that ran from the center of his chest and out over his arms, and his legs were covered by what looked to be a tattered black cloak, or hakama. The void spirit snarled, I'm going to enjoy beating the shit out of you, brat. Naruto snapped back, cracking his neck, just try it, asshole. Ready when you are. You're so ready to have your ass kicked? All right, brat, settle in. We have guests arriving. Wah. The Jinchuriki blinked. All of the shadows in his mindscape suddenly moved, crossing the vast area and gathering at a single point right in front of Naruto's eyes. Gradually, the shadows rose up from the ground and took on forms, forming a head, arms, chest, and legs before the shadows faded and revealed, much to everyone's surprise, the god of death, Shinigami Kukio. The godly figure was dressed in faded ancient shadow robes that billowed in the direction of some invisible breeze. He carried a long silver knife in his left hand and a set of prayer beads in his right, but his face was hidden by the hood he was wearing at the time. Naruto, Meigetsu, Raisei, and Kokio bowed together as one. Get up. Before death, one need not bow. The death god's voice was extremely creepy, with a deep baritone and a high-pitched voice that sounded almost like two beings speaking at once. Naruto shivered, but he couldn't help but ask, please forgive my directness, Shinigami. Sama, but what are you doing here? Naruto Uzumaki, there are two reasons why I am here, the hooded god of death said, turning to face him. As you have been informed, there is no higher power over the void. It is merely the force that unites all of the realms in this universe. Nevertheless, the void also sent its gifts to the realm of mortals when we did. Nevertheless, Mugetsu had nothing to stop it from being misused, unlike the other divine gifts that were sent. Therefore, Kami Dono and I made the decision to attach a higher spirit to the blade and put anyone attempting to use its power to the test. Therefore, this is why I am here, Naruto said, his eyes widening. The second reason I am here will only become apparent if you succeed in the test. Kukio stepped up and said, and that's my cue. You ready to get the beat down of your life, brat? Bring it on, Teme, I ain't running away now. I'll give you that you have guts, but you and I both know you have no chance in hell against me, Kukio remarked. In fact, I'll give you the initiative just to show you. Come on, take your best shot at me. The spirit's arrogance narrowed Naruto's eyes. He detested arrogance in others. All right, brat? Will you truly do something, or are you just going to stare at me? Now, you might wonder what on earth could produce such a sound in a celestial being of the void, a spirit of unfathomable power comparable to Raisei. The answer is actually very straightforward. The refrigerator fell on top of him. Large safe, anvil, 2 kitchen sinks, an oven, bluefin tuna, a marble statue of Madara Uchiha and Shodem Hokage dancing, a train car, a potted plant, a rubber ducky, and roughly 5 tons of other random debris soon followed. The Shinigami, Raisei, and Meigetsu all blinked. Well, that was short. What exactly happened? I do not know. Observing her ship's sly and arrogant smile, the demoness inquired, Naruto. Kun? Are you forgetting, Meigetsu? San? When we first met, you demonstrated to me that anything I can imagine for myself or my surroundings will come to pass as long as I'm in my mindscape. Here, I am God. So that's what I imagined, all that junk falling on that arrogant bastard. As if to illustrate his point, the junk abruptly disappeared, revealing Kukio, the spirit of the void, in her crumpled, twitching form. Stillness. Next, though. Ha 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 ha. As soon as the Shinigami saw that his subordinate had lost, he facepalmed and said, "It seems I have no choice but to pass you, Naruto, seeing as you did technically pass the test." Raisei and Meigetsu both broke out in fits of raucous laughter. Mugetsu appeared on his hip next to Tenyu as soon as those words left the Shinigami's unseen mouth. Naruto grinned and cheerfully accepted the hugs from Meigetsu and Raisei before glancing at the still twitching void spirit. Welcome to the group, Teme. We'll get along just great, I'm sure. You get screwed. Bastar. Ack. He was hit by a washing machine. Naruto looked up and said, anyway, moving along. As for the other reason I'm here, well, that can wait. I've got a surprise for you right now. You've moved past it. Naruto was about to turn, confused, but he stopped when he saw the shocked and angry expression on Meigetsu's face. He recognized the person standing behind him right away. Naruto had seen this man's face almost every day of his life. He was a man the villagers spoke of with respect and reverence. He was also feared by his enemies, who would flee at the sight of his yellow hair. His power was unmatched, having vanquished many opponents most shinobi would have thought unbeatable. And for the longest time, Naruto had wanted to be just like him. He was the one who brought about his curse. Yandaime.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.